Morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, happy Tuesday. It's Tournament Tuesday. We are doing silver today? Is that what I said? Are we doing silver today? That seems silly. Anyhow, welcome to the stream. We'll start by opening some packs as soon as this thing comes in. I'm pretty excited today. I think I got a good stream for you guys today. I mean, not that I ever try to come live with a bad stream, but last week's was pretty brutal, and so I went back to the drawing board, and I think we got some pretty good stuff today. Good morning, everybody. We'll see if I have Zimmerman data, and let's see. Maddox through a Maddox, congratulations to the nameless poet. Freddie Sanchez is pretty good, agreed. We'll see what he looks like today. Good morning, Mr. World. Good morning, Stans. Good morning, Gabagoo Luigi. Bottom of the sixth. Everybody else, I can't announce all of you. There's a lot of you. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by today. Plan today is to do silver. Plan next week is to take Monday off and run as much iron and bronze post live update as I can, and come at you Tuesday with a iron update. You want to open some packs? I got like 15 packs to open before we get started here today. This is, I don't know what team this is. This is the iron team. This team runs iron tournaments, so we'll open some stuff with them and see if we get anything good. And we'll start with a Build a Legend Scott Kazmir. That's a duplicate. That'll earn some perfect points for this team. So this team, the main team here, gets built only by packs. And we'll take a Garrett Cole in pack number 2. We wasted our perfect on you. Billy Hamilton, Tony Walters, Jacob Junis, Osvaldo Fernandez. I wish this had been the silver team because I could really use the 20,000 points to build that team. But we're off to a hot start anyway. Welcome. This is the stream. We got a Steve Garvey here, Jazz Chisholm, Trevor Williams. Andy Stankiewicz gets a little bit of play in bronze every now and then. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Felix Milan, Bryce Wilson, Justice Sheffield, who shut me down in another game last night. Yeah, Garvey, we'll see. We'll see what Garvey looks like. Machine gets some play in iron. Almonte Reyes, Rowan Wick. Not a great pack there. 2 packs left on the iron team. I think I have 8 packs to open with the silver team. And then we will move on to stats. I have some really cool additions today, guys. I'm super excited. We'll take a Beltray Build a Legend here, too. Let's save those collections for tomorrow. Iron team is doing some work, trying to get ready for this weekend's Iron Warriors. We'll see. It's not quite there. Not quite there. Let's go to the silver team and get ready to go. Lots of eliminations. There's a lot of good teams here in silver. You guys are better at this than I am. Did I get the new patch? No, I missed the new patch. I'll download it eventually. Do I ever do live rosters for the live tourneys? Occasionally. But it's like, hey, there's 3 spots left in this thing and it's already overdue. Let's join it and throw my live cards in. I don't think I've downloaded any data on any of them. I didn't see what we have. 6, 7, 8 packs with this team. That's a 2nd place finish and a 3rd place finish overnight. Not bad. Not bad for the silver team. Doing something right. Not a lot. Holy Detroit Tigers here. 6 packs left. Bowden, Jones, these packs not as happy as the packs for the Decimals version 2. We'll take a Chris Bryant though. That'll earn us 1,000 points. That's good. I need the 1,000 points. I really need the points in this team. We'll take a Kazmir. That's a duplicate Kazmir. Let's put him right up for auction. He's only 1,002 at this point. We'll still put him up for auction. 2,000 points I have to work with for the silver team, though. This is silver gets expensive, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It's the barrier to entry here in silver a little bit higher than it is down there in bronze and iron. We spend most of our time on the stream in bronze and iron, and we do silver occasionally. We might do gold someday, but I think we're gonna go to do a Hap something or other pretty soon. We'll take a Luis Robert too. So we got what, 3,000 points or so to work with. A little more than 3,000 points to work with for the silver team, which is here and there right now. They're up and down for sure. Oh, that was not prepared very well, was it? Let's go here. Let's go here. Someday I'm going to be a professional at this. Where are you at? Go away, formula bar. There we go. We'll scroll down just a little bit. What do we think? Maybe there? Maybe there? I don't know. I don't love it. All right, so we got the averages down here now. I'll read them out to you as we can. I know those are probably a little bit difficult to read. They're pretty small. If I make them bigger, it's gonna make them fall off the screen, but we'll see what we can do anyway. Might have to be good enough. Okay, cool. We'll start with catchers. Some things you'll notice. It looks pretty similar to what we had last week. We've got WAR here. It moved over to the left underneath weighted on base average. These are sorted by WAR. This week I decided I'm going to stick with that. You got your catcher stats here. They'll stay up during the other hitters as well, but they'll just say 0 except for the random guys who play multiple stuff. We also added in stolen base percentage. I think that was there last week, but I kind of threw the entire stream last week out of my brain as soon as it ended. Hopefully it doesn't come back as nightmares. Also added runs created per 600. That is new for this week. There is one other new addition that I'm going to talk about when we get there. Bryant might be a diamond on Monday. We'll probably hold on to him then. I could sell a kidney. I only have... yeah, she does. I only have one, though, so... that's true. We could sell one of hers. That's a good point. Babe, you good with selling a kidney so that I can buy some cards? Are you good with selling one of your kidneys so that I can buy some cards? Oh, she says I should sell one of my... Language? I'm not allowed to... Jeez. She's gonna get me fired. I don't know. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Yadi Molina came in at number 10 among catchers today. Do we want to do pitchers first? Do you guys want to do pitchers first? I don't know. Yadi came in at number 10 among catchers. 256 batting average. You just harvested a standard pack. Congratulations. And he was 13th in on-base percentage, 10th in WAR, and 6th in slugging, 10th in OPS, 12th in weighted on-base average. Offensively, he's grading out about 8th. Defensively, he's grading out about 8th. Right there at the bottom half of the top 10. He's used 9th most. Uh-oh. I can't click on that anymore. I forgot I made that a picture. Oops. Home runs, just under 10 home runs per 600. Does have a 100% stolen base percentage. So he's a very, very smart base runner, even if he's getting less than 2 per 600 plate appearances. So it looks like he has, what, 5? 5 for 5 right now for Yadi. You've been using Pettway Troop. And that's I don't know that that's a bad option. Strikeouts, he's right in the middle of the pack. We have 16 catching qualifiers. That is really small. The average for catchers is 262, on base percentage 322, slugging. Can you guys see this? I'll have to fix that for next week. I'll have to make that. Probably what I'll do is, actually, let's just do that now. I can go like this. I can go cut, and I can go, where do I want it? I can go paste, and I can go cut, and I can go paste, and then I can take this and I can go cut, and I can go paste, and then I can take this and I can go like that, and then I can go like this. Oh, stop. Where are we at? And now you can almost see it. Is that a little bit better? You just pulled 2 A's of Lacey's. Congratulations. In the same pack? Holy smokes. You guys get better packs than I do out of these pack drops. For sure. Hopefully you guys can see that just a little bit better. And compare it to the averages up here. Again, for this week, this is exactly the same. I did not adjust for like the last 2 days of data or anything like that. The all time and the current is from the last week of data because I had to start all over completely. All right, let's roll. You're in a league with Alex this week. Congratulations. What's up, you Karen? Thanks for stopping by. Left a bit cut off. What's cut off? I don't know what's cut off. Did I leave something down there? I don't think so. I think we're good. Oh, I see. You got this. You got these cut off. I see what you're saying. That's easy enough. We can do this. There. Those are a little hard to see. That is strikeouts per 600, walks per 600, and runs created per 600 averages. I'm going to adjust these for next week and make them a little bit better, but that's where we're at for today. Let's see if I can't scroll up one more. Spreadsheet killing me today. There. All right, we're ready. Yachty at number 10. Number 9. Did you see how fast that was? I love this sheet. It's awesome. I did good work on this week. I'm not going to lie. Gene Desatelles came in at number 9. Only 671 plate appearances. The cutoff is still 600 right now. I've considered changing it, but I'm keeping it there. That's fine. He came in at number 9. Number 9 in WAR at 2.06. Fifth in on-base percentage, so solid on-base percentage. He's a walk-driven on-base percentage, however, and the speed and base running does not help very much, so it's a little bit of an empty on-base percentage. 12th in batting average out of 16. 15th in slugging. 11th in OPS. 10th in weighted on-base average. Also 11th in defense. I don't know how he put up more WAR than Yachty. It's probably just a small sample size aberration. Don't love this card. I think if you can hide it versus lefties, then maybe you can get a little bit of play out of it with the 62 contact and the 61 avoid Ks. But again, it's just so empty with the really low speed, the really low base running, the steal. He's going to have a decent stolen base percentage, but as long as you're not pushing him too hard. But I really think there's better options out there than Gene Desatelles. Number 8. Bob Boone, who's your 5th best defensive catcher right now, 2.2 WAR per 600, just under 60 runs created per 600, which has him at 11th out of 16. 3rd in stolen base percentage, so solid there. Strikeout percentage at 83.5, walks per 600 at 56. Does steal 3.5 bases per 600, so he's a good base runner or a good stolen base creator. Does not hit any home runs. He's 16th out of 16 in home runs, but has a solid batting average, good on base percentage, and is pretty good defensively. You get some semblance of offense, and if you can hide him against lefties, he's a proper platoon option. 9 points of contact, almost 20 points of avoid K and 14 points of I towards lefties. So you're really going to want to platoon Bob Boone, which is fine because you need 2 catchers on your roster anyway. And so I think catcher is one of those positions where you have to have two players. So you may as well find the best platoon you possibly can, unless you have a choice who you really like. Left. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is what you want fixed. We can fix it. There we go. And so Bob Boone comes in at number 8. Number 7 is Omar Narvaez. 2,700 plate appearances for him. He's your 8th most used, because I can read really well. 2.43 WAR, just over 70 runs created per 600 at 73.13. 135 strikeouts, 58 walks per 600. 6th in on-base percentage, 4th in slugging. What can I say? I don't love this card too much. Defensively, it's 14th. Offensively, right now, it's grading out 7th. He does have a little bit of power, top 5 among catchers in power right now. It's just everything is kind of mediocre, and I don't think he's going to give you enough offense to overcome what is a rather poor defense. A 310 weighted on base average is still 4th, so if you're really just looking for a solid offensive catcher, then maybe he can do it for you. Also, he's live, so he's probably relatively cheap. So if you're on a budget, Narvaez is maybe not a terrible option if you're trying to get some offense out of your catcher. With that said, I think there are better live options in silver. They just might be a little bit more expensive. Can't steal. Nameless Poet loves his steals. You've pulled 5 Xanders and 4 Judges this year. Spread your time and luck around. That's terrible. Number 6 is Buddy Rosar, and we have our first proven winner alert. What is a proven winner alert, you say? Well, I get to go into story time now. So on Friday, I finished the main spreadsheet. I was like, this is cool. I like it. It's running really well. And I'm really happy with the optimization I made to it. So let's play around and add something to it, because that's what I like to do. And so I haven't spent a lot of time messing with like teams for these quick tournaments, for these tournaments that I get a ton of data in. I've spent a little bit of time with teams, if you've seen my other streams, for like the daily, the weekly tournaments and stuff like that. And so I went and I was like, I had 17 tournaments at the time in gold. I was working on gold at the time, and I went through and I found all the champions, and I was like, I'm curious what players are on the most championship teams. And so one player came out with 17 out of 17. He was on all 17 championship teams. And so I went into my Discord, or into a Discord group that I am in, and I said, hey guys, I'm just playing around with data, and I got this 17 tournaments in gold. There's one person who was in all 17 championship teams, and have a guess. And then I had to go do some stuff, let people guess for a little bit. I'll let you guys guess too, if you want, in the chat. I'll tell you who it was in just a minute. And so one person who I actually happen to know from outside of Out of the Park on another internet message board too was like, that's really dumb. And it doesn't make any sense because this guy is on every roster already. So it makes sense that he'd be on all of the championship rosters. And so me, being the grown adult that I am, said, oh yeah, well, and I sulked about it for a couple hours. And then I came back and I said, I'm going to fix this. And so what I decided was I wanted to track all of the people, all of the players through where they ended up in the tournament. So I wanted to look at how many times they've been used and what rounds they got to, how far they got average in the tournament. So I gave, for the best of 7 32 team tournaments, they get 1 point for making the second round, 2 points for the third round, 3 points for being a semifinalist, 4 points for being a finalist, 5 points for being a champion. And so if a person is in one tournament and makes it to the third round, they get 40% winning percentage, 40% of their potential points. So out of the top 100 players who have the most potential, so the top 100 players in potential points, so the most appearances, the top 100 most appearances, what you're going to see with the proven winner alert is the top 20 people in average points. So what this is saying here is that Buddy Rosar averages getting basically into the third round at this point. And I don't think this is predictive at all. So please don't take this as predictive. It's just kind of a fun experiment I did on Friday evening. And I do track all of the stats that I need. Let's see. We noticed that unless what are we doing? A friend and you are making a database and hit a problem. We noticed that unless you manually figure out ERA, walk percentage, strikeout percentage, the numbers won't be accurate. If you just, yes, correct. Brosh, my data looks like this. This is my data. I'll just go all the way to the top for you. And so, yes, I track all the different stuff. So this is all the ratings here. And then it goes over to the batters where I have plate appearances, at bats, hits, singles, doubles, triples. I don't even pull the rate stats. The only rate stat that I pull is catcher ERA because it doesn't track catcher earned runs allowed. And so I have to manually do the calculations to figure that out. And so, yeah, you have to pull everything in order to do that stuff. If you're just doing pitchers or if you're just doing hitters and whatever, I do them all in one. So what this is telling me is that Buddy Rosar got 24.4% of the possible points that he could have gotten, which is in the top 20 for all players. So solid performances for Buddy Rosar. He is the third most used catcher. He comes in at number 6 this week. Did any of that make sense to you guys? I hope some of that made sense to you guys. We were doing silver catchers once. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And so hopefully what I just explained made sense to you guys. And I'll show you here at the end what that looks like, and also the top 20 for that. Because I don't think all of the top 20 made it into the top 10s at their positions. So Buddy Rosar comes in at number 6, 7.7 home runs, doesn't steal bases, only a 60% stolen base percentage, but still at a .07. Number 1 in strikeouts, though, strikeout avoidance, number 7 in walks, kind of middle of the pack there. 10th in batting average, 8th in on-base percentage, 8th in slugging, 7th in OPS, 7th in weighted on-base average. In catcher stats, he's 4th in catcher ERA. The one thing to note about catcher ERA and stolen bases against per game is that it will be incorrect for catchers who play multiple positions. So, for instance, like a guy like Rafael Marchand or a guy like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, it's gonna be incorrect because I have no way to extrapolate when they were actually playing catcher. unfortunately. Let's see. So slugging, yeah. And so Marshawn Gray's out third defensively. Solid catcher ability, solid catcher, or Rosar, I should say. Solid catcher ability, solid arm, and a 101 catcher rating. And so he is a proven winner and also number 6 among catchers. I like him as a platoon against lefties. He does have some pretty severe splits. So if you can platoon him with somebody who hits well against righties, then I think he can be a good option. Again, proven winner alert. He's our first proven winner alert of the day. Yerman Mercedes comes in at number 5, 2.62 WAR per 600. 1,512 plate appearances, just cracks the top 10, 265 average, 317 on base percentage. What he does do is hit the ball hard. 416 slugging, 733 OPS, 324 weighted on base average. He hits bombs. He will strike out a bunch. He will not walk that much, so his on-base percentage is going to be a little bit lower, but he's got a decent batting average. I wouldn't steal bases with him, just a 66.7% stolen base percentage with just 0.4 per 600 plate appearances. Better to set him to not run, really. Defensively, he's 15th out of 16. Perhaps a good designated hitter versus left-handed pitching, maybe. It's still kind of a relatively small sample size for Mercedes at 15-12. Also, he might be gold soon. How would one go about getting reinstated? I do not know the answer to that, B-Beck. And so just don't use a La Russa strategy preset for your team with him on it. We're not going to... I'll talk about Tony La Russa on my stream. We won't do it here. Needless to say, I have opinions. John Roseborough comes in at number 4. This is a guy that maybe you can get away with platooning with your buddy Rosar. He's a little bit better versus righties, 75 avoid K, 71 contact, 74 gap, with a little bit more power and a little bit more eye. 92% stolen base percentage, but only 2 steals per 600. So people are being smart with him. Average of 264 is 4th. Slugging at 377 is 2nd. OPS, weighted on base average, 4th and 6th respectively between the two of them. 691 OPS and a 307 weighted on base average among catchers. Top 10 in catcher earned run average, so right around the top half, midway point. Runners thrown out percentage at 28.06. Stolen bases against per game. All of his catcher stuff is kind of right in the middle. And so versus righties, this card would be cool if it had a little bit of positional flexibility. I agree. He is 12th defensively in ratings among catchers, so that's something for you to keep in mind. One other thing that I do have to say that I forgot to say at the beginning: these numbers are only among the qualifying catchers, so keep that in mind. This is not overall averages down here. These are among the people at that position who qualified for this week. So just among the 16 people who are on the qualification list this week. That's something I'm working out a little bit. Number 3, so Roseborough, maybe a quality platoon with Buddy Rosar. I really do like that Buddy Rosar card. Bruce Pettway comes in at number 3. Pettway's a guy who can play against lefties or righties. Does have a little bit of a split versus righties, dropping 2.92 WAR on us. Number 1 in offensive value. That's largely because of stolen bases. So keep that in mind. He is 8th in batting average, 7th in on-base percentage, 10th in slugging. 651 OPS has him 8th. Weighted on base average has him 9th. So he's top half in pretty much every category. Very good base runner. Pretty good at strikeout avoidance. Pretty good at walks. 7th in runs created per 600. Let's see. So again, the catcher ERA, take it with a huge grain of salt. It is not going to be 337. He's one of those guys who plays right field. He plays first base. So it's going to pick all of that up too. I do believe that he plays the majority of his time at catcher. 8,050 plate appearances as a catcher. So that is while he's listed as this position. Again, number 1 in offensive value. Overall, he's grading out number 6 defensively. The catcher ability is a little bit low for my liking. I do grade catcher ability the heaviest, but still top 3rd out of all catchers. So he is also very, very, very expensive. I want to say this is a 25,000 point card or something like that. It is silly expensive. It's a very good card. I do like this card a lot, but I haven't had the points to afford it yet, so I don't have him on my team at this point. He's pretty expensive. Number 2 is Frankie Pitlack. I think we saw him the last time we did silver as well. He's another versus lefties guy, grading out second offensively to only Bruce Pettway. And again, Pettway grades out that way because of steals. So if you're not a player who values steals like the Nameless Poet, I'm not sure why he's the Nameless Poet's favorite catcher, but I think we can probably figure that out. You started in right field a lot, makes sense. Bronze, silver, gold. I don't know. I have a pocket full of posts. Nice. So he's going to drop to bronze. Got it. Versus lefties, Frankie Pitlack is going to rake. Defensively, he's grading out 13th, but he's pretty heavy on the catcher ability. The arm is a little bit low. You'll see his stolen bases against per game is last among all catchers. The runners thrown out percentage is very low. And I don't think I don't have the overall data for the tournament right now. I'll have that fixed for next week. We're going to plug it in here probably, the overall numbers for the whole tournament. That's going to make me need to do another sheet. Oh, you know what? No, it won't. I know how I can do that. Okay, we'll have that fixed for next week. And so pretty low on the runners thrown out. There's not a ton of steals here in silver. It's a little bit lower, I think, than bronze overall. But again, I haven't extrapolated those numbers just yet. The catcher ERA is 12th out of 16. Again, if you can platoon him, great. I think he'd hit okay versus righties, but you're definitely going to benefit from having him platooned versus lefties and getting somebody in there like a Roseborough, somebody who can mash against right-handed pitching as well. The meta right now is, whoops, that's not the one I want. You've got 88% right-handed starting pitchers and 61% right-handed relief pitchers. That number's come down a little bit. It was up in the 70s the other day, the last time I looked at it. So the number for... There's a little bit of a left-handed pitching injection coming in the relief pitching core of these teams right now. So he's only 12K right now. That's not bad. That's not bad for Pettway. Part of a pretty massive collection, too. Number 1 is Quincy Troop. Quincy Troop can play against lefties and righties. Pretty solid numbers here. Pretty solid ratings. 4,200 plate appearances. He's your 6th most used catcher this week. Good ratings with very little splits. Defensively, he's grading out about 10th. 73 catcher ability, 65 arm, 76 catcher rating. Dropped 3.23 WAR this week with 74 runs created per 600 plate appearances. 5th in strikeouts, 6th in walks, so top 3rd in both of those. Can run just a little bit, but not enough that it would be a consideration for me. 5th in average, 2nd in on-base percentage, 3rd in slugging, 2nd in OPS, and 2nd in weighted on-base average. Grading out 5th offensively, 10th defensively. This is an interesting card to me. I do think I like some of the other cards over this one. But I think he's a guy that if you're trying to go with like an everyday starting catcher with like a defensive sub like Austin Hedges or something like that, if you're trying to avoid the platoon, then Quincy Troop is one of the guys that can do that for you. He's got very little splits. He'll hit against both lefties and righties. I do think Pettway is a little bit better all around. Well, probably quite a bit better, but Troop dropped the biggest WAR this week, so we can go back and see where the other guys fell. Tucker Barnhart was 11. Yeah, I like a Pettway Troop option too. That's a very expensive catcher option at this level, though. John Wathan was number 12, another heavy versus lefties guy. Number 13 was Buster Posey, your live Buster Posey, grading out 7th defensively. Number 14 was Roberto Perez, grading out 2nd defensively, grading out 16th offensively, however, with a .61 WAR per 600 plate appearances. Number 15 was Austin Hedges and his .56 WAR per 600 plate appearances. Hits for a little bit of power. We know Hedges is the best defensive catcher out there, but still 5th in catcher ERA, which again, there's at least 2 guys who probably would drop below him because of positional. Number 1 in runner thrown out percentage, number 3 in stolen bases against per game, and number 16 was Mike Zunino, who really doesn't do anything besides hit bombs. 21 home runs per 600. He is number 1 among catchers in home runs. So there you go. Wathan. Let's look at Wathan again. We think it's a good card. I think it's a good card too. This is a pretty awesome utility card. Only got 906 plate appearances as a catcher. Probably losing a little bit of WAR in there for the times he's playing first base and left field and right field and whatnot. So maybe actually ranks a little bit higher on the list. He's got a little bit of speed, can steal a little bit. Whoops. Can steal a little bit, can hit versus lefties. Number 1 in catcher ERA, but again, that's just because he plays 4 positions. So I do not put John Wathan in and then come to me going, my John Wathan's putting up like a 4 ERA. Your numbers are bad. I've been very clear that the numbers on catcher ERA are not good. So those are your catchers. How do I calculate FIP? The constant changes from year to year, and you have no idea how to calculate the constant. So I Google it every time I have to do it. I don't know it offhand, but you have to calculate the league's FIP constant, and then you need to calculate the pitcher's FIP constant too. So let's get through the stream, and if we have time at the end, remind me that you wanted me to talk about how I calculate FIP. You have to calculate your own constant through league calculations, though. So just keep that in mind. Let's go to first baseman. Number 10 is Harry Hallman. Offensively grading out 10th, defensively grading out 7th, dropped 1.94 WAR per 600 plate appearances this week. Didn't even make the list. Probably because he's getting played a little bit more in right field than at first base. Yeah, 3.2 is pretty close to typical constant, but I don't know exactly what it is here. This is not your perfect Harry Hallman. He is your silver Harry Hallman, but interesting splits. You get almost 20 points of gap power versus righties, but everything else leans lefties pretty heavily. And so he really needs to be platooned versus lefties, I think, unless you just really want doubles in your lineup, which good on you, I guess. He's got a little bit of speed, but not a lot. He's 5th among first basemen in stolen bases, 9th in steals. I think this is about where he falls. This is not the best of the silver Build-A-Legend cards, I don't think. I will say that his perfect Build-A-Legend is a fantastic card, but I don't love his silver Build-A-Legend. Does play a little bit of second base, a little bit of right field, maybe a utility first baseman / right fielder because of his positional flexibility. I don't know that I'd play him at second base. A 53 range and a 52nd base rating with a 55 error is not my favorite. 73rd in height. You'll notice height is in here now too. It was there last week, but grading out 7th defensively. So he's okay defensively at first base with pretty good offense, kind of middle of the pack offense. 21 qualifying first baseman we had this week. Number 9 is Buck O'Neil, your 6th most used. 8th in batting average, 2nd in on base percentage though, but doesn't steal any bases. So it's a walk heavy on base percentage for sure. Doesn't strike out much. Isn't it set to 2010 league numbers? So wouldn't the constant be for that environment? Not necessarily. So I calculate it used off of yes, that is the calculation I use, Mr. Devil Dog. Oh, you use a plus 3.1. So I actually calculate it out, but we can talk about that later if we have a chance. 8th in weighted on base average. Excel just froze for a second. WAR is 2.38 for Buck O'Neil. He grades out 12th offensively. 4th defensively, however, at first base, 74 inches tall, 47 range, 52 arm, 80 first base rating. Little bit of splits versus lefties here as well. Not quite enough to where I say he needs to be platooned. I think he can probably play every day and be pretty good for you, providing solid offense and good defense at first base. Number 8 is Hal Chase. Grading out 14th out of 21 defensively. Hal Chase is my designated hitter right now. Number 1 offensive value for Hal Chase. He hits bombs. He steals bases. His on-base percentage is a little bit low, but his batting average is 3rd among first basemen at 275. 449 slugging, 758 OPS, 330 weighted on base average, 8th in WAR at 2.45. And I'm going to say that I think that WAR number is deflated a little bit because I think a lot of people play him a designated hitter. So I actually think he's probably a little bit more valuable than that. Maybe less valuable than that at first base, to be honest. You have them for sale on the auction house now. Go big. And equals league ERA minus. Yeah, that's the FIP constant thing. It can be kind of a pain to get Excel to calculate it right if you're not paying attention, if you're trying to do it quick. Chase is your 3rd most used first baseman, but again, I think a lot of that is as a designated hitter. I love this card. This was a card that I tried all year last year to get when I was packs only. I don't know how many of you remember that, but I never got it. I finally bought it for when I went away from packs only that last month and a half for the Silver Snapshots tournament. And it was just awesome. This card is awesome. I like it a lot. Number 7 is your silver build a legend Paul Goldschmidt. Platoon it versus lefties. Okay defensively. He's 15th out of 21 defensively. Again, it's first base, so let's fix that. He is your second most used first baseman. 6th in average, 4th in on-base percentage, 8th in slugging, 7th in OPS weighted on-base average. Middle teens in home runs. So steals a little bit of bases, 6.63 is 6, but a 69% stolen base percentage is a little bit low for my liking. Will walk a bit. Won't strike out too much, about middle of the pack. Everything's kind of middle of the pack offensively, and he's kind of middle of the pack defensively as well for Paul Goldschmidt. Grading out 6th offensively right now and 15th defensively. I really think if you can hide him against lefties, though, he'll hit pretty good for you. Number 6 is the guy that I want platooning with Goldschmidt if I'm playing him, Dave Revering at number 6. 6,000 plate appearances right now for Revering, 25 home runs per 600, 4th in batting average at 273, doesn't walk, and really you have to platoon him. I don't know how much he's getting platooned because I don't take that into account. I don't look at other people's rosters that much. So he's 3rd in slugging, 3rd in OPS, 6th in weighted on base average for Revering, and 6th in WAR. I like this card a lot too. Grading out 7th offensively among first basemen, 4th in strikeouts with just 103, but 19th in walks. So again, that on base percentage is going to be a little bit low, similar to the Chase, the Hal Chase. The difference between this and Hal Chase is that Hal Chase can bat against lefties and righties. I think Revering kind of has to be platooned. I don't think he's going to hit very good against lefties. You platoon him with Mike Ivy. Ivy destroys versus lefties. I don't know that I've seen Mike Ivy, so I don't know if he's going to be on the list. We might have to dig into him a little bit there at the end of the first baseman. Number 5 is Ryan Zimmerman. Grading out 9th offensively, 19th defensively. Not a great looking defensive card, but a pretty solid offensive card. 2nd in average, top 10 in on-base percentage, so top half in on-base percentage. 4th in slugging, 5th in OPS, 5th in weighted on-base average for him. 23 home runs per 600. Don't have him steal bases. Looks like he hasn't stolen any bases, so people are being smart with him. Just in the top half in strikeouts per 600 at 126. There's a lot of strikeouts here among first basemen. And 15th in walks, which is subduing that on-base percentage a little bit. 89.75 runs created per 600 is 3rd among first basemen, which is pretty solid. Again, I'm grading out by WAR. I've considered going by runs created instead of by WAR, or going back to whatever this is. I kind of hated this, though. I like WAR because it automatically calculates. It takes defense and stuff into account too. So I think we're going to stick with WAR for the time being. Only 1,775 plate appearances for Zimmerman, but it's looking pretty good for him. Grading out at number 5 here in silver. Number 4, Ben Taylor, Negro League stars. 84 contact, 85 gap, 83 avoid Ks, 55 I versus right-handed pitching. Can run a little bit. 304 batting average, guys, is number 1. One of the very few guys in silver right now with a batting average above 300. And this is a 22,000 plate appearance sample size. So when I say small sample size, I don't refer to Ben Taylor. He is getting used a lot. Best versus lefties bat in the format, out of the park, Meme Lord says. I'm not sure I disagree with you on that. Really, really solid card here. 361 on base percentage. He will avoid strikeouts. He has some speed. He's okay defensively, top half among first basemen defensively. A little bit short at 71 inches, so like I'd be eye level with him. And I'm not tall, so I know that I haven't done any scientific stuff. I know there's some people out there who have done scientific stuff on the height and how much it plays into first baseman. It does get factored into this number a little bit, which is probably hurting him just a little bit because his first base rating is pretty good. Can sack bunt, but why would you sack bunt with a guy with this profile? If you can put him versus lefties, he's going to be pretty good. So maybe platoon him with Zimmerman. What a solid platoon that would be, huh? Zimmerman and Ben Taylor. In fact, I'm going to go like this. Versus righties. This is my first one of these today, because I'm pretty happy with Buddy Rozar at catcher. Number 3 is Les Fleming. I picked this card up on a whim the other day. He hits versus righties, grading out third in WAR right now at 3.14. He's only 70 inches tall. 17th defensively. I'm not really sure how this guy's putting up 3.14 WAR per 600 plate appearances, other than kind of a small sample size thing. 19 home runs, so just under 20 home runs. 7th in batting average at 262. 3rd in on-base percentage. 6th in slugging. 4th in OPS. 3rd in weighted on-base average for Les Fleming. That weighted on-base average is good among third basemen. Solid stolen base percentage at 78. People are smart and being careful with him. He's not. I've seen a lot of guys with ratings like this that have like a negative stolen base differential, which is really bad. But you're 5'7", you'd make a terrible first. I mean, I'm 5'11", and I'd make a terrible first baseman, but mostly because I'm 40 and I can't catch anything anymore. You were doing Taylor Beckwith at first base. Garvey was 5'10". Yeah, I don't think you have to be a tall first baseman, but it is something that the game definitely takes into account. And there's some guys that you can see it with like 79-inch first baseman. I don't know if there's too much of that here in Silver at this point. Fleming solid versus righties, but I think there's better options out there. Although I think he's cheaper than some of the other options out there too. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to run a Goldschmidt, Ben Taylor platoon, man, that's probably how many points is that right now? I don't even know. Oh, look at that. Got Casimir sold. That's cool. I don't want to look it up right now. That's an expensive platoon. Number 2 is Vic Sire, comes in at number 2 with 770 plate appearances. Number 2 offensively, number 13 defensively for Vic Sire. This is a card that I haven't seen too much of, obviously with a pretty small sample size. Only plays first base. Really looks like he's only playable versus righties, so he's definitely a platoon option. And I don't know that he keeps these numbers up. At 3.41 WAR per 600, I think is pretty high for what I'm seeing out of this card. A 248 batting average is low. The on-base percentage is good, but it's so walk heavy. At least he steals, which is good. So maybe this is a guy that that some people in here are looking for. You're an old fat guy, so your best position is right recliner. Yeah. I wish I could afford a recliner. 84 power, 79 eye. Again, he looks kind of okay against righties. I really do think there's better options out there, but he put up at 3.41 WAR over the course of this weekend. 26 home runs per 600 is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of home runs, even for this format. You know, the average first baseman is 12, so that's what we're getting out of Vic Sire right now. And your number 1, I don't know who it is. Let's see. Eric Thames comes out at number 1. Another solid versus righties platoon. He'll strike out for sure. 158 strikeouts per 600. I don't love the batting average at 246. It's a little bit low. But man, is he going to hit some bombs off of right-handed pitching. He's a cheap card too. I think I just bought him. It's an interesting card to me, guys. Defensively, he's grading out 8th among first basemen, which isn't bad. He's number 1 in WAR at 3.56 over 2,800 plate appearances. Grading out 5th offensively right now with a 4.05 rating. 30 home runs per 600 is a lot. 479 slugging is really good. OPS of 828 is pretty good. 365 weighted on base average is kind of awesome. And again, it's not a super small sample size at this point. Does need to be platooned. Perhaps a platoon with that other historical player of the month, that what was that? The Zimmerman, or a platoon with the Paul Goldschmidt, potentially. I don't know if I put him in there. I can't. He might be on my team right now, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Are we on the right team? Looks like we're on the right team. Let's check. I might have bought him because I think he's pretty cheap. You feast on future legend Cole Henry and other low movement pitchers. Yes, that makes a lot of sense to me, that he would absolutely eat up those low movement pitchers in the format. Let's see. Am I running him? I'm not. I'm running Goldschmidt Revering right now. Is who I'm running. I think I looked for him, and I can't remember if he was expensive or if he just wasn't available when I was looking for him. It's a good-looking card that's going to mash. Yeah, there's a lot of guys running those low-movement pitchers out there right now, and he will absolutely mash them. Really solid card for a right-handed platoon. 11th was Whitey Lockman. 12th was Hosmer, live Hosmer. 13th is Snapshot Nick Johnson from 2006. 14 is Vlad Guerrero Jr. live. 15th is Nick Etten, who I've tried out a little bit, don't love. 16th is Dom Smith, live Dom Smith, readily available, so I think that's why he's getting used quite a bit and hits some home runs and plays mediocre defense. 17th was Sano. 18th is live Goldschmidt. 19th is Derek Barton, 2010 one-hit wonder. 20th was Jake Daubert, right-handed platoon. And 21st was John Hummel. What is cheap for silver? Right now, I consider like 1,200 cheap for silver, but yeah, you're going to be any good cards at silver. You're probably looking at high hundreds, and then if they're parts of collections right now, they're going to be thousands. It'll be 15, 2,000 minimum. But yeah, you're looking for less than 1,000 is probably what you want to call cheap. I can't afford. There's some that are in big missions, like the Jabba is still like 8,000. It's silly. Second base, for crying out loud, David Fletcher, go away. 2.62 WAR for David Fletcher. Grades out 5th defensively at second base, even at silver. Sorry. Even at silver, David Fletcher is grading out. Whoa. Allergies. That came on out of nowhere. He's grading out 5th defensively. Solid defensive second baseman is he. A little bit of a versus lefties split, but not a huge one. I know a lot of people like to hide him and platoon him versus lefties, but I think he can hit versus righties too. I don't know what he's doing this year in real life. I know that in other games he's a pain in my neck, but 279 average, 327 on base percentage. Offensively, he's grading out 22nd out of 25. He's just not that great, but gets a lot of WAR. And he does get a WAR bonus because he plays a little bit of shortstop and third base too as well. So keep that in mind with David Fletcher. I think he's still a solid utility option here at this level, but you are going to get some lower numbers out of him offensively than you were seeing in bronze for sure. Number 9 is Louis Arize. He is your most used second baseman here in silver right now. Readily available. He was a bronze before last month. What's he doing this year? What's he doing this month? Is he going to move up? Let's find out. He's up to a 318 batting average, 382 on base percentage. He might even move up a little bit more. I don't know if he'll go to gold. I don't think he's going to go to gold. But you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see him be a really solid 75 silver card next week. How is Hummel last? Let's go. We want to talk about Hummel real quick. Again, I grade them by WAR, so let's go look at him. Whoops, too far. Good looking card versus lefties. No, actually, really no splits to speak of. Can run a little bit. Not sure why he's only putting up 0.45 WAR. It could be small sample size. The numbers just aren't there. Weighted on base average of 306 is a little bit low. OPS is sub 700. So he runs a little bit. The avoid Ks with the eye. That eye is really concerning to me. He's only going to walk 26 times. So the on base percentage is really, really low for a guy with that kind of speed. If you're running an all-speed team, then maybe, but I don't love that card. But it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look terrible. I wouldn't be surprised. He hasn't had much playing time. You don't think he'll go up? He had a concussion. I did not know that. Yeah, the low eye cards sometimes are not great. The on-base percentage was really bad on that card, yeah. Number 8 is Negro League stars Walter Kennedy, who's number 2 most used all time, 2.78 WAR. Grades out 4th defensively, 7th offensively for him, 11th in batting average, 21st in on-base percentage, though, out of 25. And for a guy who gets a little bit of value from his base running, that could be an issue for you, but top 10 in slugging percentage among second basemen while playing good defense. I think he might lose a little bit of WAR because he's playing third base or shortstop a little bit. We'll see if he shows up at shortstop as well. Not too big of a split. Really no splits to speak of. It's just 1 point in contact gap and eye. So I think he can hit against both lefties and righties. I think he's a solid everyday option at second base. 7th in strikeout avoidance. Doesn't walk, so the on-base percentage is going to be a little bit low. But I'm okay with a low on-base percentage as long as it's a hit-heavy on-base percentage, which his kind of is. It's kind of middle of the pack at 268. So he comes in at number 8. Number 7 is Bert Niehoff. A card that is interesting to me. 2.88 WAR. He's your 6th most used all time. 23rd in batting average and 25th in on-base percentage. Those are bad numbers. 5th in slugging is good out of 25. He does hit home runs, 17 home runs. Number 1 in steals among second basemen, but number 10 in stolen base percentage. Again, that's probably largely due to stealing a lot. It's not Yachty and his 5 successful steals for sure. 710 OPS, 309 weighted on base average are all kind of okay. Where's that weighted on base average? The weighted on base average is below average for the second baseman. Pretty good defensively. He's okay defensively, grading out 8th. Good range, decent arm, good turn double play. The error is a little bit concerning to me. I've run him a little bit. He might still be on my team because I can't find somebody else. Nope, he's not still on my team, and I don't think my second baseman is on the list either. So we'll see. Number 6 is Harold Reynolds, who until this morning was on the proven winner alert screen, but I think I changed the formula for getting into it, and he fell off the list. So 277 average for him, 340 on base percentage is 5th among 25 second basemen. Defensively, he's right in the middle of the pack at 11th with a decent range, not great. Decent error, not great. 90 turn double play is good. 70 second base rating is okay. Try to hide him versus lefties. I think he'll have a pretty good batting average on base percentage versus lefties, and he can run a little bit. But his stolen base percentage is going to be low. Keep that in mind. The guys with that high speed, low steal will go a lot and will get caught quite a bit too. A 63% stolen base percentage would actually lead me to tone him down a little bit. I do not want Harold Reynolds stealing as much as he has been for some of these other teams. He is top 5 almost in strikeout avoidance. He's top 10 in walks. Again, decent batting average, decent on base percentage. For a good base runner, he is a good base runner. Just be careful with the steals on him. Number 5 is Saul White. This is a fun card. I don't know if I got this card yet. I've been trying to get it. Almost no splits. 1-2 points of splits versus lefties in basically every category. And the numbers there's nothing that sticks out to me as, hey, these numbers look really good. But he's very good defensively at multiple positions, grading out 3rd defensively at second base, grading out 5th in WAR. Offensively, he doesn't look great. He's stealing 3rd too much, perhaps. Where are we at? Bit of a technical question. When I calculate rates, am I just straight out? No, I do actual calculation. And so it's a fun card. It's a good-looking platoon card to me. I don't know that I want this card starting every day. I don't love the ratings on offense. Maybe if the bunt for hit was just a little bit higher to where it would be useful. I think that this bunt for hit is something that you want to keep in mind for a guy like him. His speed's a little bit low for it, though. 262 average, 323 on base percentage. Everything is kind of middle of the pack. He's just pretty good defensively as a second baseman. He is your 8th most used player as a second baseman right now. Grading out 4th offensively, but a lot of that is, again, wrapped up in these steals. 2nd with 21 steals per 600 and an 80% stolen base percentage, which is really good. I just wish that on base percentage was a little bit better for Saul White. Number 4 is WAR or rate stat. WAR is a counting stat. So for the WAR, I take the WAR and extrapolate it out over whatever plate appearances they have. Mike Moustakas comes in at number 4, which I did not expect to see here. 17th defensively, 12th offensively, somehow putting up 3.15 WAR. I'm going to guess that's from playing third base a bit. I don't know. Number 1 in home runs among second basemen. Number 1 in slugging among second basemen. 4th in OPS. 6th in weighted on base average. Do not love this card. I don't like it. I don't need my second baseman to be hitting home runs. I need my second baseman to be playing defense. and probably getting on base. If you really want home runs and you're really willing to live with bad defense at second base, I'd rather see him at first base, to be totally honest. Or third base. I could live with him at third base, perhaps. So we'll see if he shows up over there at all. But I don't like Moustakas at second base. But he grades out to a 3.15 WAR here at second. Bobby Avila comes in at number 3. These cards are terrible. 715 plate appearances for Avila. Is there a regular schedule? I'm every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, USA. Versus lefties, Bobby Avila will hit pretty good. But overall, he's a little bit concerning. Speed's a little bit low. He's grading out to a 3.19 WAR at second base, grading out 12th defensively. I'm not really sure where all of his WAR is coming from either. 319 weighted on base average for him. 711 OPS, 376 slugging, 6th in on base percentage. I think there's a bit of a small sample size issue going on here for Avila. Again, the 3, what's he got? 3 steals over 700 plate appearances, but without getting caught. Top half in home runs. I don't love it. I don't love this card too much at second base. Number 2, here's a card I like. Bingo DeMoss, grading out 6th defensively and 2nd offensively. 3rd in batting average, 2nd in on-base percentage, 11th in slugging. So I don't use fielding WAR in my calculations. No, I just use the overall WAR, which uses fielding in it. I don't pull the fielding WAR out or anything like that. The WAR in the game uses WAR. The defensive stuff I use just this stuff. It's just based on ratings because it's just so hard to figure out defensive stuff because of the way the game engine calculates it all. DeMoss only has 1,618 plate appearances. You've been platooning Avila and McNeil. How's that working out for you, DA 186? I like DeMoss. Good avoid Ks, good contact. He's 3rd in average, 2nd in on-base percentage, 3.69 WAR per 600. I believe it'll come down a little bit. I don't think it's going to stay up at 4 over the long haul, but he's off to a solid start. Plus the ability to run. The stolen base percentage is a little bit low, but again, he's stealing a lot. So good strikeout avoidance, good walks, 5th in runs created per 600 for Bingo DeMoss. This is a card I really like. Also, solid as a backup, perhaps. Solid as a utility guy, a little bit of left field, second base, third base. He's the kind of card that you can... how is he hitting 291 with a contact in the 50s? It's the avoid K plus the speed, plus he's a ground ball hitter, which is gonna... The ground ball hitting will get his batting average on balls and play up just a little bit, and play it up over the 58 contact there for him. It is a very small sample size as well, so keep that in mind. I'd like to see more of him going forward, though. I think I looked for him and he wasn't available. Number 1, everybody's going to hate me. Everybody's going to quit. 4.24 WAR per 600 plate appearances, over 1,000 plate appearances for Bill Sissel. Terrible defensively at second base. I don't get this one. 2nd in weighted on base average, though. 1st in OPS. 1st in batting average, 3rd in on-base percentage, 422 slugging. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This guy is going to get on base against left-handed pitching. If you can platoon at second base, this dude is going to be ridiculous. He's going to have a 300 batting average if you can platoon him versus lefties. Versus righties, you're probably looking at closer to a 270. I don't do a lot of that scientific stuff that kidneys and DRC do, where I'm like, I see an 80 and a 70, and I think it's going to be this. I just go by real numbers that I'm seeing. But if you can platoon Bill Sissel, man, I really think he's a solid number 1, maybe even a number 2 hitter in your lineup. Defensively leaves a little bit to be desired at second base. I can live with it, though. 72 range, 63 second base. Again, I don't think he's a definite need at second base, but he's put up good numbers so far, and I think he can keep that up. And so is there player access to these stats in this format? I don't know what that means. A download. I only get it in my... I only get data, Red Dog, out of the tournaments that I get into. So all of the tournaments, all of the data that you see is from tournaments that I'm in. Do I factor versus lefties versus righties? I can't. There's no splits. You think people see how much you steal and then just go wild stealing? Perhaps. Not without making your own sheet. Yeah, you got to make your own sheet. You think the game rounds WAR to 1 decimal point, adding them together leaves a lot of room for error. Yeah, there's a little bit of that, Bailey. I agree. You have to join the yes, you have to join the tournaments and pull the data. Where is Harry Williams? Let's find out. So let's go backwards among second basemen. I didn't love the second base list. I won't lie. John Farrell came in at number 11. Ryan Sandberg at number 12. Okay looking card. Lefty splits. Brent Gates at number 13. Proven winner alert for Brent Gates. He's your fifth most used. 26.9% of his total points for those of you who missed that. He is among the proven winner list. Holy smokes, it's 12. We're not even through second baseman yet. I got to speed up. Don Money at number 14, which I like to see. I have that card. I won that card in a tournament. 15th is Pete Rose. What? 4th in average. 4th in on-base percentage. 3rd in slugging. Number 1 in weighted on-base average, but bad defensively. The worst defensive second baseman. Over 7,700 plate appearances. Pete Kilduff at number 16. That's my guy. He's terrible. Jeff McNeil at 17. Judd Wilson at 18. 19 is Otto Knabe. Newt Allen at 20. 21 is Cintrone, who's a proven winner. 25.21. Hide him versus lefties if you can. He's a very interesting utility option to me. We're going to see if we see him anywhere else. We might see him at shortstop. 22 is Chris Taylor. 23 is Kavan Biggio. 24 is Solak. 25 is Whit Merrifield. Who were we looking for? Where is Harry Williams? Let's see if I have anything on Harry Williams. Coffee, you're in my way right now. Harry Williams. I only have 239 plate appearances on Harry Williams right now, so he did not qualify for the list, sadly. Apologies for that. That was your second base list. What's next? Third base? There's Cintrone, your proven winner, Alex Cintrone at number 10 at third base, which is very interesting to me. I think that his WAR gets inflated just a little bit here. We also only have 11 qualifying third basemen, so it's not like that second base position where we had like 25 guys. What data do I have on Don Money? Let's go back to Don Money because we saw him. My main team got him in a tournament, so I don't have him on the silver team. This is a good-looking silver card. Not great defensively. Second worst defensively, which is why he's getting dragged down a little bit. Offensively, he's grading out 15th among second basemen. 256 average, 314 on base percentage, 409 slugging, 723 OPS, 319 weighted on base average, and some pop for Don Money. There are very few good third basemen. I agree. I love this Cintrone card. If you can hide him against lefties, he's gonna rake for you. A 275 batting average right now. I don't think he's being platooned. I think if you can platoon him, you're probably going to get closer to a 290. I don't think he's getting platooned as much as he should. However, I also think that's because he's getting used very much as a utility second baseman / third baseman, which he can be very useful as. Shortstop, okay. Shortstop's just a little bit too important to me to have this there, but I know there are people out there who can live with it. Offensively, he's grading out 10th among third basemen. Defensively, he grades out 8th. A 319 on-base percentage, a 394 slugging, 713 OPS, 316 weighted on-base average. You only got 874 plate appearances for him as a third baseman. 1061 home runs, 0.41 net steals per 600, stolen bases at 60%. So not going to run too much. Will avoid strikeouts, and will walk quite a bit too. Not quite a bit, but kind of middle of the pack among third baseman. Again, if you can hide him versus lefties, he's going to rake. Maybe as a third base platoon plus a utility versus righties. We'll see. I think I'm using him as my utility right now. Live Andrew Vaughn comes out at number 9, grading out 8th offensively. 11th defensively, bad defense. Nope. Not interested in him playing defense. Is he good enough to designated hits? No, I don't think so. 336 weighted on base average isn't bad. That's pretty good. Number 1 among third basemen at 336. 754 OPS. 346 on base percentage. Second among third basemen. The average is a little bit low. So walk heavy on base percentage. I don't like it. I think we'll hit home runs, mid-teens and home runs. He's 1 steal, 1 caught stealing, it looks like, for Andrew Vaughn. He's at number 9 out of 11. DH is Rose's job. Yeah, if you have him. You use Cintrone as third base versus lefties, so those might be some of yours. Yeah, probably. Maybe go Judd Wilson versus righties. Don't think he should ever be started. Cintrone, interesting. He's a monster off the bench, we think. You start him at third versus righties and move him to DH and start Brooks Robinson. Interesting. Judd Wilson at number 8, perhaps versus righties. Maybe that Cintrone platoon for you. 6,700 plate appearances for him. Plays so many positions. These Negro League cards are so much fun. He can play second base, third base, left field, first base. He's very short for a first baseman. 37 shortstop. 76 contact, 70 avoid case. He's going to get on base for you. He's going to hit some doubles for you. 7th in home runs, but 276 average, 327 on base percentage, top 5 slugging, top 5 OPS, top 5 weighted on base average among third basemen. Also grades out 4th defensively at third base, 2nd offensively, 4th defensively. But WAR is a little bit low. I think he's maybe getting some shortstop reps in there that's losing a little bit of WAR for, or maybe a little bit of first base reps in there. I actually rate him a little bit higher than this at third base. And so that's where Judd Wilson fell. Rose is overrated. First round of a bronze tournament. Nice. Somebody just rocked bottom. Harry Lord comes in at number 7 with 1,400 plate appearances as a third baseman, 5.3 offensive value. Number 2 in batting average at 298. Another guy who maybe you can platoon with Alex Cintrone. Unfortunately, holy cow, that is bad defense at third base. Not the worst. Defensively at third base. Solid batting average, solid on base percentage. If all you want out of your third baseman is somebody who can hit righties and get on base and then steal, 61 steals with an 80% stolen base percentage, good golly. I can almost live with that. With that defense at third base. I'm going to want a really good defensive shortstop, but this is a very good looking leadoff hitter versus right-handed pitching to me. Like a prototype leadoff hitter versus right-handed pitching. I don't know. I can't. Whew, that is a tough call. That's not a call that I can make for you guys. I might try him out. I'm going to plug him in. Let's see. Who am I platooning him with? Cintrone? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Number 6 is Jeff McNeil. Another guy that can platoon versus righties. You got 11 points of contact, 12 points of gap, 8 points, 7 points of avoid K, 5 points of I, 6 points of power. Another guy who can perhaps platoon, but again, 21 third base rating is a little bit scary to me. These numbers look a little bit better, but not by much. He looks more like a second baseman / right fielder. He is grading out at 2.23 WAR. Number 1 in slugging, number 1 in OPS, 283 batting average, 332 on base percentage. All really solid numbers for live Jeff McNeil. 335 weighted on base average as well. Dropping 6th in WAR this week. Mid-teens home runs, steal a base every now and then. Some middle of the pack strikeouts and walks. 83.9 runs created per 600 for Jeff McNeil with a 3.85 offensive value. He's at number 6. He's your third baseman in a regular perfect team. Nice. Number 5 is Gio Urshela. We're just going to move on from him because Yankees. No, I guess we won't do that. Number 1 in home runs among third basemen. A little bit of a weird split here. He's got 14 points of gap versus lefties, but 11 points of power versus righties, and then 7 points of I versus righties, and 5 points of avoid K versus lefties. So, interesting stuff. Doesn't run. Looks like maybe 50% stolen base percentage, which isn't great. Looks okay defensively, grading out third defensively. Cheapish card, maybe not super cheap because he's a Yankee. I don't know off the top of my head how much the card value is, but he's 8th in average, 6th in OPS, 6th in weighted on base average, and dropped 5th, number 5 in WAR among third basemen this week for Urshela. Number 4, I'm so jealous of all of the people who have this card. Freddie Sanchez, who, if you're running Cintrone versus lefties, is a really good option for a platoon. Proven winner, Freddie Sanchez at 26.47% of his points. I think there's only one guy in all of Silver who has over 30% right now. I forget who it is off the top of my head. We'll look at that whole chart at the end. 303 batting average for Sanchez, 336 on base percentage, 415 slugging, 751 OPS, 330 weighted on base average. Might accidentally run into one here and there. Doesn't run too much. This is a number 2 hitter. I would love this card as a number 2 hitter on my team. Versus righties, he's going to crush. Defensively, he's middle of the pack, which I can live with at third base. This card is so awesome and so expensive and so hard to find. You don't like this card out of the park. Well, I know you like steals, don't you? You're a Freddie is bad truther. Bad eye and no speed and bad D. You don't like it either, huh? I love that batting average. That on base percentage is pretty good too. So when you're putting up a 336 on base percentage, and you're only walking 24 times, man, that's good. Like, I don't know. I think we disagree on this. What's best? Can you? I guess I still have half of that left. Nameless Poet doesn't like him. I'm with Hides or Face. Hides or Taste? Hides or Tachi. I don't know. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I love this card. I love it. I disagree. I think if it was the reverse of this, if it was a low avoid Ks and a high I on base percentage, then it would be useless. But this is a guy who's hitting singles and doubles all day long against right-handed pitching. He's a number 2 hitter. You put a guy at number 1 who's going to be on base all the time with a little bit of speed, and he's going to be driving him in all the time against righties. I love this card. I think, I'm willing to, I don't know. High Desert Face. High Desert Ace. Got it. That took me a minute. Your high school baseball coach told you were a number 2 hitter. You hit like number 2. I wish I could afford it too. And then just standing on the base clogging it. But he's already on second base. Right? I mean, I'm going to have to I don't disagree with you guys all that often, but I'm going to have to vehemently disagree. I love that Freddie Sanchez card. Adrian Beltre at number 3, 3.04 WAR per 600. Mid-teens home runs. Steals a little bit of bases. 8 steals per 600 with a 71% stolen base percentage. Strikes out a little bit, but walks quite a bit too. Solid on-base percentage here at 323. But 10th in batting average for Adrian Beltre. He's at 3.04. Defensively, he's grading out 6th at third base. Hitting 321, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs in your current tournament. Is that Sanchez? In 21 games. Can he sack bunt? No, probably not. No. He might just not be the guy for you. I want him in my lineup. Number 2 is Brooks Robinson. Drops out of the top spot, guys, with his 52,000 plate appearances. Oh, God. Now I'm concerned. It's going to be Matt Duffy at number 1, isn't it? Matt Duffy's 1,900 plate appearances are going to be number 1. Brooks Robinson is really solid at third. I like this card. I think he's a good platoon with Freddie Sanchez. Also plays good defense. Number 1 defensively at third. 73.95 runs created. 4th in batting average at 283. 322 on base percentage is 8th. 413 slugging. 734 OPS for Brooks Robinson. Brooks not number 1. Hey, I don't do the calculations anymore. He's all batting average ball and play with Nick Allen and Pat Shays running around. He'll be way too inconsistent. Man, if you say so. Number 3 should be Moriarty for sure. Dude is a beast. I don't know if I've seen the Moriarty card. Let's see if we can take a look at it. I don't think I have data on it yet. We know all about Brooks. He's just really solid. He's a cheap option that plays really well. And can play against lefties and righties. I know there's a little bit of a split here. You got 10 points of contact, but you gain 10 points of gap. He can play every day. If you can platoon him against lefties, he's probably going to be a little bit better. But he's very good defensively at third base too, and he's really, really really easy to get. Unlike some of the other cards in this list, the Sanchez, the Negro League cards are all really difficult to find. I think that the reason, that's part of the reason he's got 52,000 plate appearances, which would be like my data sample size, the first stream I ever did, like the whole data sample size. But we know enough about him. We like him. And if you're running Brooks Robinson, I don't think you're wrong. Number 1, my God, are you kidding me? Matt Duffy at number 1. Matt Duffy grading out second defensively just behind Brooks with an 82 range, a 94 arm. Good golly. A 52 turn doubles plays and a 51 error for Matt Duffy, an 83 third base rating. That's a pretty solid defensive third baseman right there. Offensively, he's putting up a 297 average, 350 on base percentage, and doesn't look like he'd be a bad platoon with Brooks Robinson. His versus righties looks kind of okay. The speed's kind of meh. You'll have to start playing Silver so I can see Moriarty. Let's see if we have any data on him at all. 3.53 WAR. For Matt Duffy. It's a little bit tough to try to platoon him with Brooks Robinson because both of them only play third base. So it is a straight platoon if you're going to go with these two guys. You don't have somebody who's going to be able to back another position up. And there's only so many positions. You only have so many choices to make when you're trying to decide who to platoon in these tournaments. If you're running 12 pitchers, then obviously you have 5 bench players. If you're running 13 pitchers, then you're down to 4 bench players in these tournaments that have designated hitters in them. So it gets a little bit difficult to platoon in too many places. And I know I talk a lot about platoons, but it's really up to you guys to figure out where you want to do it. I don't think Duffy is a bad one with Brooks. I definitely think if you're we like Brooks, I think if you can platoon him against lefties, he's going to be even more valuable. And so I don't think that Duffy is a bad looking card for a platoon with him. I still like Freddie Sanchez. Moncada was number 11. Let's find and see if I have anything on Moriarty. I do not. I don't have a single plate appearance for Moriarty right now. It's a tournament simulation. We didn't get knocked out yet, so that's nice. Probably going to be simulating up here. Yeah, let's go back here, and we'll go back in. Strict platoon versus lefties means he never plays in Silver. This is true. So if he's only platooning versus lefties, that's a little tough. We're about to get knocked out in the first round. Let's see if he's in here at all. Moriarty right here. That is a good looking 70 rated card. Let's see. No splits at all. Ground ball hitter with an 85. Yeah, that's a good looking card. I like it. Defensively, he's going to be a step down from Brooks and from Matt Duffy. Plays a little bit of first base, though, so he can be a backup utility first base / third baseman, which is pretty cool. Pinch runner. That's a good looking card, that George Moriarty card. Sanchez was like 25K. Yeah, that's a 20, 30,000 point card. I'm about to get knocked out by you. Well, that's embarrassing. We need to come back. We need down 3-1 in this series. Shortstops. Let's do shortstops. You'll notice I don't have DHs, infielders, and stuff yet. That'll be back next week. Jazz Chisholm, future legend, comes in at number 10. He hits bombs. We had 20 qualifying shortstops. He ranks 15th out of 20. Offensively, he ranks 3rd, though. 23 home runs with a 330 on-base percentage with some wheels for Jazz Chisholm. This is a pretty solid card, but I think there's better options out there at shortstop. I think there's players that, while they're not going to have as much power, are going to have comparable offensive value while playing better defense than Jazz Chisholm. He does, however, hit bombs. 23 home runs per 600. It's a solid card, don't get me wrong. And he's going to strike out a bit, but doubles, home runs, slugging percentage at 439 is kind of spectacular. Number 9 is future legend Jeremy Pena. Card that I don't know that I've ever actually looked at before. So 5 points a split versus lefties. In contact, 3 points in gap, 3 points in power, 3 points in eye, 2 points in avoid Ks. Plays a little bit of second base, a little bit of shortstop. Grades out 8th defensively at shortstop. Top 10 in every offensive category out of 20. Not a terrible looking card, but I think that other cards are going to outplay it over the long term. Grading out 8th defensively and 7th offensively right now for Pena. For Moriarty isn't bad, but Duff and Brooks are a little hard to displace. Yeah, I can see Duff and Brooks being really good. Yeah, the Future Legends are fantastic here in Silver. They're all pretty good. I definitely would not fault you for using this card. I think it's a good looking card. Again, splits a little bit versus lefties, so maybe a good late inning replacement, perhaps, with a little bit of speed for Jeremy Pena. Number 8 is Live Jose Iglesias, who grades out 3rd defensively with a little bit of gap power here. 75 avoid K, 61 contact with 76 gap versus righties. The on-base percentage is atrocious. Just not good. But the batting average is kind of okay. Middle of the pack, 267, just above average, but a 290 on-base percentage. I can't live with that. I don't love it. He is very good defensively, but again, I think there's better options out there. However, he's probably pretty cheap at this point. So if you're just trying to fill a defensive shortstop, there are worse options than Jose Iglesias. Just, plug him in at number 7 or number 8 in your lineup and hide him from everything. Number 7 is Negro League John Beckwith, a guy who looks like he would benefit from a lefty platoon for sure, grading out defensively at 11th, but plays a little bit of third base, plays a little bit of first base. Most of his plate appearances have come at shortstop. Interesting looking utility card. The 3 catcher arm, 2 catcher ability, 1 catcher rating leads me to think he'd make a solid defensive substitute at catcher. And so he's 3rd in average, 5th in on-base percentage. I was totally joking about that, by the way. 2nd in slugging, 2nd in OPS, and 2nd in weighted on-base average. Top 10 in home runs and steals. The stolen base percentage leaves a little bit to be desired, but I'm guessing that he's trying to steal quite a bit. Top 5 in strikeouts per 600. 11th in walks per 600. And number 2 among shortstops in runs created per 600 plate appearances. John Beckwith. This is a pretty cool looking card, guys. I like it. I think he'd hit a little bit versus righties. Obviously is going to benefit versus lefties. But again, he's one of those guys like a Cintrone who you can use as a versus lefties platoon, and then when he's not playing against lefties, he can back up multiple positions, which I find really useful in these tournament formats. And guys who you want to platoon but can play multiple positions and then back other positions up on their days off, I think are really useful here. And this is a really solid looking bat for the format. Grading out number 1 offensively overall. That's pretty solid. Number 6, future legend Tyler Freeman is a pretty bad defensive shortstop, but can play a little bit of second base and will mash against lefties. I've tried him out at shortstop. I've kind of moved on from him. I think I know who I'm running right now. I think I'm running that guy right now, number 1. We'll see where he pops up. I don't think Tyler Freeman's unusable, but by any means. I think, again, if you can platoon him versus lefties and then play him as a second baseman, shortstop utility guy, perhaps. The 25 second base rating is a little bit low, but if he's only playing there once every 4 or 5 days, then maybe you can live with it because you're going to get a pretty good bat out of him too. 4th in batting average, 2nd in on-base percentage, 4th in slugging, 3rd in OPS, 3rd in weighted on-base average. He is grading out 5th offensively, but again, 16th defensively. He's not great defensively. 3rd in runs created per 600 among shortstops, though. You use Charlie Dexter at catcher and shortstops. Yeah. Any info on Beckwith's catcher earned run average? Let's go back. 0.02. No, I don't have any because he doesn't play at catcher enough to do that, to have a good catcher earned run average. That is not accurate. Number 5 is live Marcus Semien with 2.6 WAR this week, over 1,000 plate appearances. I don't love it. He hits some home runs. Number 2 among shortstops, behind only Jazz Chisholm in home runs, but Chisholm's going to do it better, and Chisholm's going to do it while playing comparable defense and having a better batting average and a better on-base percentage as well. Slugging percentage at 402. I don't know how he put up a WAR of 2.6. It might be because He's getting a bonus from playing a little bit of second base and being a pretty good second baseman, actually, for Semien. I don't hate this card as a utility guy if you don't have another solid utility option. I think if he's playing shortstop every 4 days and second base every 4 days, he's not going to kill you. But I definitely think there's better starting shortstop options out there. You dropped the hammer on Gross to 11-0. Dang. Nick Ahmed comes in at number 4. This is live Nick Ahmed, who I actually ran for a little bit. He's it's kind of a fun card. He only plays shortstop, which limits his ability to really play. He's much better versus lefties as well, so I think that's kind of what you're seeing here. Is I was platooning him. I was straight up platooning my shortstops because he plays pretty good defense and probably playing a little bit outside of his depth in the WAR category here. Although top 4 defensive shortstop at the level is not too bad. 16th in batting average. The bat is awful, grading out 16th out of 20. It's not a great bat if you're playing him versus lefties and versus righties. And I don't love him as a platoon. I have moved on from him. He is no longer... we won game 5. Forced to game 6. That's what I'm talking about. I lied. He's still on my team. I need to get Nick Ahmed off my team. I don't hate him as a starting shortstop if you're trying to go cheap. If you're building a budget team, I think you can do worse than Nick Ahmed because the Future Legends do get pricey. The Negro League cards do get pricey, and those are the cards that are going to be better than this Nick Ahmed card at this point. And so if you're trying to build a budget build, I don't think Nick Ahmed is a terrible choice. He's a pretty good defensive shortstop that, I mean, obviously the hitting's not great, but I mean, it's not the worst either. Wait a minute. Oh, it was Iglesias. I got them confused. Number 3 is live Andrelton Simmons, who, surprise, surprise, grades out number 1 defensively. However, grades out 14th offensively. Another potential budget card as well. If you're trying to... You pulled an Ernie Lombardi. He's awesome. The catcher ERA leaves a little bit to be desired. I pulled him a few weeks ago, probably a month ago, on the main team. He's still playing. He's my starting catcher right now, which is not great, but... Simmons is 7th among shortstops in batting average while being the best defensive shortstop. A 113 arm with an 88 range and 88 shortstop rating. He's got a 100 outfield arm too. 89 double play. Splits, you got 3 points of contact, 10 points of gap. We all know that Andrelton Simmons isn't really going to hit that much. The on-base percentage at 310, slugging at 356, OPS at 667 are all pretty bad. A weighted on-base average below 300 is kind of bad. If you're playing Andrelton Simmons, you're doing it because he's cheap and because he plays really, really good defense. The Braves should have never traded Simmons. I agree. But I mean, they're doing all right with, what's his face out there too? Dansby. Dansby's not a bad shortstop. Is he one of the best to pick in Perfect Draft? Simmons? Maybe? I can see him being helpful in a Perfect Draft. I have not had a lot of luck with Perfect Draft though. So you pulled card Negro League out of a standard. Torriente, nice. How is my main team doing? They got knocked back to gold. It was a disaster last week. We were just talking about him. You don't like Dansby? I'm a pretty big Dansby fan. I am a bigger Austin Riley fan than I am a Dansby fan though. I like Austin Riley, and I'm a huge Freddie Freeman fan. I'm not a Braves fan. Used to be when Tommy Glavine was playing there. Nick Allen comes in at number 2. Are you serious? I quit. You guys shouldn't even... I don't know why anybody watches me do this. Nick Allen at number 2. Grades out 2nd defensively. Grades out 13th offensively, which isn't great. We're seeing a 331 on-base percentage, a 251 batting average. He could benefit from a platoon just a little bit, but... I think he's pretty solid. Good speed, good base running, good steal, sack bunt at 77, bunt for hit at 55, 250 average, but a 331 on base percentage with that kind of base running. The 62% stolen base percentage isn't great. I don't think he steals enough that stolen bases should be the reason you're plugging him into your lineup. But he did drop a 3 WAR this week. Only plays shortstop. I do like this card. He graded out at number 2 this week. over 30,000. Yeah, number 2. He graded out at number 2. Number 1. I don't like it. Already don't like him. Number 1 is... What the flagnard is this? What is a Benji Gill? 2001 Benji Gill dropped a 3.15 WAR over 647 plate appearances this week. Nick Allen is number 1. Nope. This card is terrible. 10th defensively. 282 average, 324 on-base percentage, 425 slugging, 749 OPS, 329 weighted on-base average, 641 plate appearances. So I'd say I keep my plate appearances down because I know it's a small sample size, but I like to maybe find like those diamonds in the rough. I don't believe that Benji Gill is one of those diamonds in the rough, and I think that every single one of these stats comes down over a longer period. You think Benji Gill is the true number 1? I disagree. I'm embarrassed, and somebody else should probably just take over the stream. No, I mean, I decided to go by WAR, and that's what happens. Offensively, he's grading out 8th, but again, I really don't think these numbers hold up over time. I think all of these numbers come down a little bit. I don't see a single one in here, or a single reason to believe that any of these numbers are anything but a 647 plate appearance aberration. And he's not very good defensively. I like Nick Allen at number 1. That's who I'm playing. That's who I'm going to keep playing for now. Let's go back and see who else we're missing. You think Benji hits? I found fossilized. You think you'll stick with Chisholm? I don't think that's a bad choice. I like this card. I think it's a pretty cool card. Miguel Rojas was 11. Dick Groat was 12. Interesting looking batting average on base percentage card with mediocre defense. If you can live with mediocre defense at shortstop, there's worse cards to go with than base clog and Dick Groat. It's going to be singles, and he's not going to run very much, and there's going to be a lot of people who hate him. And I totally get it. But a 357 on base percentage, guys, with 76 runs created per 600. Mediocre defense. Bill Russell at number 13. People probably playing Gill because they paid $10K for him. Groat Chisholm is a fun zig when everyone else zags. Yeah, I like the Jazz card. Felipe Lopez at 14. Cubic zirconium in the rough. I like it. Starling Castro at 15. We have Alex Cintrone, proven winner. Alex Cintrone at number 16. Number 17 is Mondesi. Number 18 is Build a Legend Hanley. 19 is Chris Taylor. 20 is Build a Legend Tony Fernandez. Those are some pretty atrocious offensive numbers, Tony. I don't know. That is crazy to me that Benji Gill has the numbers he has and Tony Fernandez is putting up a 220 batting average. Weird. Baseball is weird. Those are your shortstops. Who are we doing now? Left fielders? Let's burn through the outfield. Dylan Carlson at number 10. We had 20 qualifying left fielders. Carlson hits versus righties. Pretty good power versus righties. Right now grading out 14th offensively, but 5th defensively. Plays a little bit of left field defense. Has Craig Reynolds been looked at? I did not look at him. Where's my stats? Craig Reynolds. I only had 285 plate appearances. He's dropping a 257 batting average, 284 on base percentage, which is pretty atrocious. 338 slugging, 622 OPS, all very bad. Everything else looks kind of not going to strike out too much. Not going to ever walk either. Craig Reynolds is what I have on him, but it's a pretty small sample size. Carlson at 884 plate appearances right now. Number 1 in home runs among left fielders at 23.68. 427 slugging. I don't love him. Number 9, Brenton Doyle. Proven winner. Future legend Brenton Doyle with a 27.52 points percentage, which is pretty darn solid. Grades out number 7 defensively, but grading out 16th offensively. 1.76 WAR for him. Plays a little bit of left field, a little bit of center field, a little bit of right field. I like him in left field the best if I'm going to play him. Not too much splits to speak of. It's about 4 to 6 points. So if you can play him against lefties, he's going to hit a little bit better, but I don't think it's going to be like earth-shatteringly better. I think you're probably going to get something pretty similar to what we're seeing here. A 255 average, 301 on base percentage. Pretty below average offensively, in all honesty, but the defense apparently is helping him out just a little bit. 71 runs created per 600 is dead last among left fielders, and yet he's a proven winner. Somebody is running Brenton Doyle in a full pitching and defense type team. So there you go. Number 8 is Ivan Calderon, all-star from 1991. A little bit of a split versus lefties, only 927 plate appearances. You can't run Alan Chisholm or Rojas Ahmed Andrelton or Freeman. Craig is good in historical silver. Interesting. Yeah, I could see that. I missed that tournament this week. I'm so mad at myself. Calderon at number 8. Number 6 offensively, number 19 defensively. Not great defensively, but a 17 arm in left field you can almost live with. The 36 error is a little bit more concerning. If you can hide him versus lefties, he's going to hit really well. It's 9 points of contact, 12 points of gap, 15 points of power. This is a card that will mash the 2 lefties that are in the tournament. So if you can get him in there versus lefties, then perhaps Calderon will play. Pete Rose at number 7. 2.28 WAR per 600 over 34,000 plate appearances. You guys do love you some Pete Rose. I don't hate him. I like him as a designated hitter if I'm going to play him. I don't have Pete Rose yet. Very good versus lefties. I think he's probably going to struggle a little bit versus righties, but not too badly. 6th in runs created per 600 at 82.3. 7th in WAR at 2.28. Again, getting run as a DH most of the time, so that's probably a little bit low versus what you can expect to see from him. 287 batting average, number 1 among left fielders, which is crazy to me that a 287 is number 1 among left fielders. 345 on base percentage is 4th. 423 slugging is okay. OPS at 768 is okay. You like Doyle as a good backup corner outfielder? I agree. I think that's what he looks best at for Doyle. Number 6 is Joe Rudy. Gosh darn it, I just took him out of my lineup. Versus lefties, if you can hide Joe Rudy versus lefties, he's going to mash. Again, we're looking at 80% right-handed starting pitchers in this tournament format right now. This is a fantastic card versus lefties. Doesn't play good defense. He's 18th out of 20, but put up a 2.39 WAR. These are probably all my plate appearances because I had him in my lineup. 23 home runs per 600 is pretty solid. A 275 batting average is 5th. A 310 on base percentage is bad. A 470 slugging percentage is pretty solid. 781 OPS and a 339 weighted on base average. A 339 weighted on base average with a 310 on base percentage is interesting. A 2.39 WAR per 600. Again, not great defensively. It's left field. Perhaps a versus lefties platoon with a little bit of first base and left field backup for you there. Maybe. Number 5, proven winner, Coco Crisp. 27.94% of his points go to Coco Crisp. I bought him today. I love this card. He's good defensively. He's putting up 2.4 WAR somehow, playing a little bit of center field, maybe a little bit of left field. 263 average is pretty low. 316 on base percentage. He's grading out 10th offensively, 8th defensively. So middle of the pack there. You get a little bit of steals. You get okay, not great on base percentage, decent slugging, 711 OPS. Another player who's going to help you out on a defensive thing. I do like Coco. You're cuckoo for Coco. So do people actually like this card? I like this card. I don't love this card. I plugged him into my lineup to see how he does for me. I'm not in love with it. He's number 5, obviously. The error is a little bit scary. Only really plays left field is kind of the issue here. But if you're running a platoon, perhaps, with him versus righties, if he's the strong side of your platoon with, I don't know, a Brenton Doyle against lefties, and then he can back up center field or something like that. He runs a little bit, doesn't strike out too much. The numbers don't look great to me, I'll be honest. The overall offensive numbers, but he's getting a little bit of WAR. Again, I think his WAR is playing up because he gets a little bit of time in center field as well. So I'm not going to sit here and say you need to have Coco Crisp in your lineup, and I'm not going to argue with you if you think that he's not good. Why are we caring about left field defense? I don't care that much about left field defense, but I have to talk about it. I think you need a bat at left, and he just doesn't provide. His numbers are a little bit lower. They've come down over the last couple days. I'll be honest, they looked good the other day when I was looking at it. But yeah, it's but again, he's here. He's a proven winner. A proven winner. Coco Crisp. Also, I will always love Coco Crisp. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. No, I don't think he's a definite sure thing in left field. I don't think he's a card that you have to have or you can or you're not going to win. But I also think that he provides value as well. I think you need to put him in the right spots, though. I don't know, because the splits are a little bit weird. People love him because he's a switch hitter, too, so keep that in mind for Coco Crisp. He's at number 5. He's at number 5 in left field, so Jay Payton splits heavy versus lefties. Will hit very well versus lefties. Provides a little bit of speed, not a ton. Plays okay defense. Number 2 defensively in left field. He is also a proven winner at 24.46% of his overall point percentage. He'll mash versus lefties. I think he'll hit a little bit versus righties, but it's going to be a little bit lower. 277 batting average, 324 on base percentage. But I agree with you guys who think you really need a really good bat in left field. And so between Crisp and Jay Payton, you're kind of getting what you get, right? Payton plays center field a little bit better than Coco does, for sure. You either don't care about defense at all, or it's the most important. There is no middle ground. Gotcha. You don't want to butcher out there, but you gladly take below average left fielder for better bat. I agree. There's not a ton of really solid bats here in left field. We'll see who the top 3 are. Just thought that people wouldn't be sacrificing any offense at a position like left field. WAR rankings. Yeah, WAR probably favors defense just a little bit. I think this is a useful card. I think if you can plug him in as a versus lefties platoon and then have him back up left field and center field, you know, it hides Crisp versus righties a little bit too. If you're going to run a platoon like that, you've got 2 proven winners in left field. You got a proven winner in left field every single freaking day. It's just dumb. It's for fun. I really don't. This is not predictive. Please understand that. Number 3 is Davey Lopez, who will mash left-handed pitching. 15th defensively. Number 1 offensive value is Davey Lopes. 876 plate appearances. I think he'll hit really good against lefties. I think he'll get exposed against the majority of right-handed pitchers here. A 245 batting average is not very good, but a 342 on base percentage is pretty solid. 22 home runs per 600 and can run. He's like a 2.5 tool player, guys. 750 OPS, 336 weighted on base average, grading out 3rd in WAR at 2.6, and plays center field for Davey Lopes. Rains, Rose, left field, DH combo. Makes sense. We'll see who's up here. It's totally predictive. I have powers. Doubt it. Number 2, Marty Cordova. What is this baloney? 2,300 plate appearances for Marty Cordova. Number 2 in batting average among left fielders. Number 1 defensively among left fielders. 7th in on-base percentage. So you got a good batting average, good on-base percentage. The slugging's a little bit lower, but the weighted on-base average at 329 is pretty good. And you're getting good defense out of him. Another guy that probably needs to be hidden versus lefties. Considering how many guys split versus lefties, I'm not surprised that everybody runs right-handed pitching. Because there's not a lot of guys who split versus righties right now. Here in silver, everybody kind of looks like they split versus lefties. It's a 2,300 plate appearance sample size for Cordova at number 2. Midpoint and everything, doesn't really run. Pretty bad power. Getting a lot of play defensively. Good looking defensive left fielder. I don't love it at number 2. I don't even want to do this. After the way Shortstop went, I kind of want to skip this part. We want to do this? Let's just skip number 1 left fielder, and we'll move on. No. Number 1. Interesting. Lloyd McClendon comes in at number 1. Oh, look, he splits versus lefties. Why wouldn't he split versus lefties? McClendon's probably going to mash against lefties. He's going to hit really, really well against left-handed pitching. Holy smokes, I got to hurry up. And he plays first base, third base, and left field. 275 average, 361 on base percentage, 434 slugging, number 1 in OPS, number 1 in weighted on base average, number 1 in WAR. Not very good defensively. Plays a little bit of third base, a little bit of first base. I would like him as the left-hand side of a platoon in left field, backing up first base and third base. It's all by WAR, guys. It's by WAR. I don't calculate WAR. The game does. Number 11 was Hal McRae. I don't hate the looks of that card. Number 12 is Ozuna, who's your third most used. Number 13 is Bleferi, who's your 13th or 6th most used. Who are we missing that you guys want to see higher on the list? Hack Miller. 16 is Hurley Mcnair. 17 is Ken Griffey, who's your 9th most used. I mean, Rose was up there, right? In the top 10. Yeah, Rose was at 7. He's the most used guy. We just saw Bleferi. No lefty pitchers. Yeah, and that's the issue right now, isn't it? There's not a lot of lefty pitchers. Bleferi comes in at 7th, who could be the right-hand side of your platoon with some of those other guys who hit lefties or play every day since, you know, there's no lefty pitchers. 45 left field, 35 right field. Offensively, doesn't look great. I mean, 330. How is he grading out? That's bad. Negative 15 steals per 600. Good home runs, solid batting average. The weighted on base average at 6th. I'm a little surprised to see him that low offensively, but really it's steals is probably still a little bit overweighted. 13th in WAR though for Bleferi. Tim Raines. Griffey was 17. He hits versus righties, so there's a potential right-handed bat for or left-handed bat for you to hit against all those righty pitchers. 269 average, 315 on base percentage, 416 slugging, 324 weighted on base average with a little bit of speed and a little bit of power. I like that card. That looks good. Chris Taylor, solid utility option in the outfield, but you know, the bat not quite playing up here. Tim Raines at number 19. Let's talk about Tim Raines because he looks like he could hit a little bit versus righties and versus lefties. Defensively, he's grading out 9th. Offensively, he's grading out 7th. For whatever reason, I think people are playing him designated hitter a lot, so his WAR is getting suppressed really, really badly. I would actually put Raines a little bit higher. Not super high because it's a good on-base percentage, not a great one. It's a very steals-heavy offensive value with a 248 batting average, 333 on-base percentage, 354, 688. Hurley was number 1 last time you did a data run in silver. Where's he at? Verdugo at 20. Taylor, Griffey, Hurley Mcnair. Here we go. Talking about Hurley Mcnair. Good avoid Ks, good contact. Yeah, I could see him being a good on-base percentage guy. Good base running, good defense, good left field, right field. I don't hate this card either. Grading out 3rd offensively. Again, it looks like he might be getting used a little bit as a designated hitter. I'm not sure why his WAR is so low. Good base running, good batting average, top half on base percentage. The slugging and OPS is a little bit low for left field, but I don't hate this card either. There's not a lot of cards that I just absolutely detest here in this set. Number 1, I actually do like this McClendon card, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'm a moron. Again, the problem with versus lefties, but he's gonna be touch and go versus righties, I think. But the fact that he can play back up first base, back up third base, semi-competently, and play as a utility somewhere, I don't know. I don't know. Definitely some weird stuff going on. So you guys don't like the WAR rankings, huh? I get the feeling you guys don't like the WAR rankings all that much. Bleferi, gotcha. You play the diamond at DH too. Interesting. Center field, Jay Payton is a proven winner. Only hits versus lefties. It's 277 batting average, 404 slugging, 728 OPS, 321 weighted on base average. 11th offensively, grading out 12th defensively. Plays a little bit of left field, can back up center field and left field very competently. I think he's an interesting option as a perhaps as a left field platoon with a center field backup on his days off, maybe. Jay Payton, he is a proven winner. But again, it's versus lefties. Number 9, one of my favorite cards in this set, Jaron Duran. A proven winner. Jaron Duran, TM. I'm going to trademark that. I don't know if I can trademark that. I like this card. I don't love it. I wish it was a little bit better, but he plays pretty good defense, grading out 10th defensively in center field. A little bit, he plays up a little bit in right field. Actually, probably plays down a little bit in right field because of his 47 arm. Good contact and gap versus righties. The avoid Ks leaves a little bit to be desired. He is going to strike out quite a bit. 15th out of 22 in strikeouts. A little bit of speed. You just want to be a little bit careful with him because that steal is below his speed. So he will get caught a little bit more than some of the other guys. You probably don't want to bump him up too far. The 265 batting average is middle of the pack, but it's a good on-base percentage, good slugging percentage, pretty good OPS, and a good weighted on-base average for Jaron Duran, grading out 9th in WAR amongst center fielders. I don't know that I use him as a starting center fielder. However, I think he's a pretty solid utility option in center field, maybe as a right fielder, second baseman, or a center fielder, right fielder, or whatever you want to do with him. What he does is he's versatile, which is pretty cool. You rank based on steals per 600. Maybe next week we'll do that. Number 8 is George Thomas. We're still in center field. Good gracious. George Thomas at 2.84 WAR, 692 plate appearances, so small sample size alert, grading out 6th offensively, 6th in batting average, number 1 in home runs among center fielders. Defensively, he's pretty bad. I don't think I play this card in center field, but maybe as a utility option. Right field, left field, center fielder, if I'm going to play him in all three, perhaps. Splits a little bit both ways, a little bit better contact, a little bit better power versus righties, a little bit better gap, a little bit better avoid Ks versus lefties for George Thomas. Number 1 in home runs, solid stolen base percentage, but again, not enough to care about. Slugging is second, OPS is second, weighted on base average is second, but again, that defense is very concerning. Yeah. You're welcome. He's at number 8. Number 7 out of 22. You like Thomas backs up all 3 outfield positions. I agree. I think it's a good-looking utility outfield card. I try to stay away from guys backing up 3 positions in tournaments just because fatigue's so fast, especially when you're talking outfield. But definitely backs up multiple outfield positions. Christian Pache, I like this card. He's number 1 defensively in center field. I like him as a backup center fielder, backup right fielder, perhaps a backup left fielder. Offensively, he leaves a little bit to be desired. He's not great offensively, grading out 20th out of 22 with a 238 batting average, a 287 on base percentage, a 378 slugging. OPS and weighted on base average are 21 out of 22. Can run just a little bit, 67% or so stolen base percentage, 11 home runs, so kind of middle of the pack there. It's just that batting average, that on-base percentage are leaving a lot to be desired. But it's center field, so we want defense, right? And he's grading out as the number 1 defensive center fielder here in silver. So if all you want out of your center fielder is defense, there are worse options than Christian Pache, who is your number 1 most used. Duran is number 2 most used. Number 6, is Jelly Gardner. This is a card that I think is fun. He's grading out 4th defensively and 9th offensively. 266 average, 332 on base percentage with 20 steals per 600. Stolen base percentage a little bit low for my liking at 65.83, but you know, it is what it is. Slugging percentage at 344 is 21st out of 22, so he's not going to hit for any power, but he's a center fielder. He hits versus righties. Good on base percentage versus righties. I think this is a really cool card. Especially if, for whatever reason, you're able to platoon him in center field, and he can back up left field and right field on his days off. I think this is a super fun card. You're missing Ruben Sierra this year as a corner outfielder. Yeah, no, I agree. Where are we at? You like Jelly Gardner in the caps for sure? Yeah, that's a good idea too. Jelly Gardner. I think this card is pretty cool. Number 5 is Lorenzo Cain. Live Lorenzo Cain, grading out 5th defensively, 16th offensively, 2.98 WAR per 600. Plays a little bit of center field, a little bit of right field. Splits versus lefties. How annoying is that? He's your 6th most used center fielder. 10th in batting average, 8th in on-base percentage, 8 home runs. Steals a little bit. He's just kind of mediocre, but can back up center field and right field and play both of them pretty well. For Lorenzo Cain coming in at number 5. So far, Jelly's my guy. Number 4 is Frank Damari. Damare, who, you guessed it, will absolutely destroy left-handed pitching here in silver. 81 contact, 62 gap, 76 power, 70 I, 80 avoid Ks. Can somebody start throwing left-handed pitching against me? This is a cool card. He can back up center field, back up right field. Both of them are kind of a mixed bag. Doesn't really run. -2, so you probably want to set him to not steal. Number 1 in on-base percentage at 365 over 828 plate appearances. 467 slugging, 832 OPS, 366 weighted on-base average for an overall 3.04 WAR. 20 home runs per 600. If ever there was a format where I was like, throw more left-handed pitching at us, like, I almost want to try playing this card as a platoon up in gold, where we're like 50-50 right now. Man, so many left-handed hitters down here. Number 3 is Ketel Marte. Oh, look. Well, he's a mixed bag. Probably about even between lefties and righties for Ketel Marte. Plays a little bit of shortstop. No. Second base, a little bit of center field. Number 3 in OPS, number 3 in weighted on base average among center fielders. 3rd in WAR somehow. I don't love the defense. I could see him as a useful utility guy at second base and center field, perhaps. But he doesn't really do much. Just 900 plate appearances, too. I think we'll probably stay away from Ketel Marte. Ken Berry comes in at number 2. I like this card. Grading out 3rd defensively, but grading out 21st offensively. So if you're going to, I mean, at what point do you say Pache is just better than Ken Berry, right? If you're just going to go, hey, we're going to go all in on defense. Pache obviously is a little bit better defensively. Berry's grading out 3rd. 14th in batting average, 18th in on-base percentage, 17th in slugging over 11,000 plate appearances. Doesn't really steal, doesn't really hit for power. I have Berry in my lineup right now, but I'm going to be honest. I almost feel like Pache is a better option just because the defense is enough better that I think that he's going to give you more defensively than Berry and not do much worse offensively because you just can't, right? 96 range, 85 arm, 76 error with 100 center field rating. And you just can't do too much worse offense. Well, I guess Pache is trying to do worse offensively. He is doing slightly worse offensively than Ken Berry. Where's Albert Almora? I don't know. We'll see. Number 1. He's not even on the top 10 list for use. Number 1 is Albert Almora. Look at that. We got one. High Desert Ace. Nailed it. Says, where's Albert Almora? And there he is. Grading out 7th defensively and 8th offensively, Albert Almora has a 100% stolen base percentage with 3 steals in 615 plate appearances. But he is number 1 in batting average, number 5 in on-base percentage, number 8 in slugging, number 6 in OPS, and number 6 in weighted on-base average, dropping a 4.68. Guys, that's 1.5 WAR higher than number 2. Over 615 plate appearances. Holy smokes, he splits versus lefties. I just can't with this set right now. Almora hits versus lefties if you can. He only plays center field, which makes it a little bit harder to me to platoon him because he's not going to back anybody else. But if you're looking for a platoon partner with him, like you got Duran, right? You can platoon Duran with him, perhaps. Platoon... Oh, look at that. Starlin Marte with him, perhaps, who came in at number 11. Not very good defensively in center field. Ew. Pretty good hitter. 333 weighted on base average for Marte at 11. Harry Bay, perhaps you can platoon. Not very good defensively either. Number 1 offensively because of steals. I feel like sometimes when steals take over offensive value that much, I feel like you guys are running it. So weird that those ratings are putting up those stats. I don't know. So for you, High Desert Ace, are you running him in a platoon? Are you running Almora in a platoon in center field with somebody else? You need more at bats. I agree. Yeah, so that makes sense. So that's probably why those ratings are putting up that those kind of numbers. I mean, he's going to hit really well against left-handed pitching. The 76 avoid Ks with a 71 contact and a 70 gap. You got the singles, you got the doubles, and not so much triples in there. But I think it's an interesting looking platoon card. It's so hard for me to fit a straight platoon at a position like center field, where he's definitely a second tier defensively. But and with him being a left-handed, like if it was a right-handed side of that platoon, then I could probably fit it a little bit easier. But where he's the left-handed side of a platoon, where he's only going to play once every time through the other team's rotation, it seems a little bit harder to me to fit Almora with Harry Bay as the secondary, as the versus righty side. So let's find Harry Bay, who is here at number 12. Yeah, I can see it. I think that's pretty solid. You're giving up a little bit defensively for sure. Definitely, both of these guys are definitely a second tier. I would call Bay probably in that third tier defensively. And with both of them only playing center field, it does make it a little bit harder to fit. That's why you run so much. It's how you win. I gotcha. And Harry Bay, a good base runner off the bench too on the days that he doesn't play too. So he's at number 12. 13 is Aaron Hicks. 14 is Trent Grisham. 15 is Mitch Webster, who I would have expected to see a little bit higher on the list. Oh, look at that. Splits versus lefties. 16 is Freddie Leach. 17 is Stan Spence. 18 is Nate McLouth. A little guy you can play versus righties just a little bit. Grades out top 10 defensively in center field. Numbers don't look great. A little bit of power, a little bit of speed. That's not the worst looking card I've ever seen. That Nate McLouth. Homer Smoot at 19. Harry Bay. Aren't they hard fruit? Maybe. Dwight Smith at number 20. 21 is Mickey Rivers. Wait, what? .290 batting average for Rivers. That eye is just so bad. The eye power combination. He walks 14 times per 600. Goodness gracious. That's atrocious. 376 slugging, 685 OPS, and 301 weighted on base average. But a .290 batting average with good speed. Only 2 steals. 810 plate appearances. And Jackie Bradley Jr., your number 2 defensive center fielder. Pache is better in almost every way than Jackie Bradley Jr. I would just run Pache as opposed to Jackie Bradley Jr. Reverse splits for Mickey. Yeah, he bats left, reverse splits versus lefties for sure, versus left for sure. Decent base running. I wish the bunt for hit was a little bit higher. Okay, base running, the speed's a little bit low. The defense is kind of that third tier of defense. If he had right field rating, I think he'd be a really cool utility option. If he had a rating in either left field or right field. But as it is, as a center fielder, I don't love Mickey Rivers all that much. Yeah, again, you never see lefties. It is what it is. Maybe out of the pen. There's some lefties in the pen. Again, we're running, what were we seeing out of the pen? 61%, 38% lefties out of the pen. So could be an option there as a bench. Right field, Jeff McNeil comes in at number 10. 1,500 plate appearances. We've seen him at third base, where he's not great defensively. We saw him a little bit at second base. Mashes versus righties. I think this is an interesting right field option here. Jeff McNeil, 283 average, third among right fielders. On base percentage, slugging, OPS, all in the top 10. We have 29 qualifying right fielders. Everybody that it really is like that. When you're like, oh, you want to go pick daisies, go play right field, right? If you don't want to pay attention to the game. And so it's funny how in these data sets, when I'm doing the qualifiers, everybody who just doesn't fit anywhere else qualifies as a right fielder. So we end up with like 30 qualified right fielders. McNeil comes in at number 10. We froze. Rivers was a very good defensive guy last year. I agree. Mike Yastrzemski at number 9. Hit some home runs. He's going to hit some bombs. He's going to play some okay defense, middle of the pack, top half defensively for Yastrzemski. 82 power, 80 gap versus righties, 66 contact, 38 avoid Ks. Definitely split versus righties, which is good. Here in the format, does he split enough versus righties? Well, that's up to you. 4,200 plate appearances. tells me that he splits enough towards righties for some of you. Number 2 in OPS, number 2 in weighted on base average, 9th in WAR at 2.34, a 331 on base percentage for Mike Yastrzemski. Sorry if this has been asked, but what's the deal with strikeouts per 600? I get what the stat is, but why that instead of a strikeouts per 9? Just the sample size. Yeah, so because I use strikeouts per 9 for my pitchers because pitchers go over like that 9-inning thing, but I don't feel like a strikeouts per 9 would be terribly useful for hitters. I like the 600 plate appearances is not exactly, but it equates to about a full season of baseball, like a full season of hitting for these guys, and so that's why I go with 600. I also use 600 plate appearances as my minimum plate appearances to qualify, which obviously probably needs to go up at this point for the amount of data that I got on silver this week, because we've seen some pretty weird numbers towards the high. But the 600, because I use plate appearances instead of 600. I can spell Yastrzemski without looking, but I'm also a Red Sox fan, and I probably can't do it on stream. It's like doing public math on stream, so don't ask me to do it now. Andre Dawson's an interesting looking card versus righties. 80 contact, 77 power, 67 avoid Ks. Defensively, he's 23rd, but it's right field. Second in slugging, 5th in home runs, 4th in batting average. The on-base percentage is a little bit low. The 28i will lead to that. 796 OPS, 346 weighted on base average, grading out 8th in WAR. Solid looking bat at right field is Andre Dawson. Yeah. Number 7 is Doc Miller, another guy. We're finally getting some guys who split versus righties. They're just all in right field. A little bit of speed for Doc Miller, too. Grading out number 3 offensively, 15th defensively, 83 range, 31 arm is a little bit terrifying to me as a right fielder. But, sometimes you got to live with it. 74 contact, 81 gap, 68 power, 57 avoid Ks. Don't love it. A little bit of speed, 3rd in stolen bases among right fielders, 20th in average, 23rd in on-base percentage, 21st in slugging. I don't love this card, but he's a little bit of a mixed bag. At least he splits versus righties, which we think... yeah, so he's got a 33 arm. This is his 1988 season. Let's look that season up. Because we're saying he did throw. He was a very good defensive outfielder, which we're not seeing in this card. Because he doesn't have an S in his name. 1988. The defense. At standard fielding. 1988. Holy cow. Assists. He only had 7 assists in 1988. 1987, if this was his 1987 card or his 1980 card, or his 1978 card, you'd probably see that arm a little bit higher. I'm a little surprised to see it that low, though. Even with 7 assists, 7 assists is nothing to sneeze at from a right fielder. And so, also, he won the Gold Glove that year, so I'm a little bit surprised to see he's that low. Let's see his... zone rating. We don't have a zone rating for that year. His range factor was 1.97, so it was lower than most of his other seasons, but I'm a little surprised to see the defense that low for Dawson here for sure. Miller, we talked about. Number 6, there's Jaron Duran. I do love this card. This card is kind of awesome. Plays versus righties, not going to be great. I mean, he's not going to light the world on fire as a bat against righties. Splits a little bit, but he can play versus lefties too. He can run a little bit. Proven winner. Still a proven winner in right field. 78 range, 53 second base rating, 73. I just like this card. Also, we might get a live Jaron Duran pretty soon. He is crushing AAA right now. Yeah, nobody ran on him that year. Yeah, that makes sense. Not many people using Lynch in right field. I'm not seeing him too much up here. Bruce Pettway at number 5. What? Grading out 5th in WAR, but some of that is from catcher too, so keep that in mind. Pettway as a right fielder is going to be slightly lower in WAR, so he's just grading up because he gets some catcher rating. 815 plate appearances as a right fielder for him. I can see him as a backup. I don't love him as a starting right fielder. I think you can get a little bit more offense. I think this card is awesome as a backup catcher / utility right fielder / utility first baseman, whichever one you choose to use him as a utility at. It's having a catcher that's a backup that can play another position allows you to start platooning in other ways too if you have a really solid catcher. I like this card a lot. I don't know that it's a start. I don't think it's a starter this year. Last year I thought it was a starter. I know for like the Nameless Poet who really loves this number, he's probably a starter, but I don't necessarily love him as a starter. But I think he's a pretty cool utility option that you can do cool things with. Ducky Holmes comes in at number 4. He is a proven winner. Finally, a proven winner alert that splits versus righties and has speed and plays a little bit of defense. Doesn't hit for a lot of power. I wish he hit for some power. 10th out of 29 in batting average, which is pretty good. 330 on base percentage, which is pretty good. 406 slugging is above average for right fielders. There's somebody in there that is really dragging that number down. Goodness. 736 OPS for him. 327 weighted on base average, but he runs. He has a very good on base percentage. He plays okay right field defense. 80% steal percentage with 51 steals per 600 is just silly. That is a ridiculous number. Only strikes out 76 times. The ball is going to be in play, folks. Doesn't walk very much either. 11th in walks. 82 runs created per 600 and plays a little bit of right field defense. I like this card a lot. Ducky Holmes comes in at number 4. Number 3 is Corey Snyder, who could be part of a platoon in right field. Oh, look. He splits versus lefties. How sad is that? 26 home runs per 600 for Corey Snyder right now. 486 slugging, 823 OPS, 360 weighted on base average, grading out with a 3.29 WAR. Yeah, he can play at catcher. I agree. I think Pettway can start at catcher. He's really expensive. I don't have him. I can't afford him on this team right now. 74 contact, 73 gap, 97 power, 53 eye, 50 avoid Ks. For a guy who plays good defense in right field too, this is the kind of guy that I'm willing to run a straight platoon in right field for, because he's not going to be a detriment to me defensively, and I know that he doesn't play other positions, but he's going to hit really well on those rare times. I wish that these splits were this way, but we could say that about every hitter on this list so far today. So that's Corey Snyder at number 3. Getting platooned quite a bit. That's why you're seeing a pretty low plate appearances. If there were more left-handed pitchers, I think you'd see a lot more plate appearances for Corey Snyder, but he does need to be platooned. Number 2, Leon Roberts needs to be platooned against left-handed pitching as well. Number 6 defensively, grades out 20th offensively. Not looking great for him. 3.38 WAR. He plays left field and right field. Maybe as a utility guy in right field and a backup left fielder / right fielder on his days off for Leon Roberts. 68 contact, 87 gap, 71 power, 56 eye, 63 avoid Ks. I hate these lists today. 2,400 plate appearances, though, putting up a 3.38 WAR. So he's solid defensively. Doesn't run a bunch. A little bit of power, not a ton. Top half among right fielders. Top half in every category among right fielders, and plays right field and left field. Who's number 1? It better be. It is not. Are you kidding me? Lance Richburg with 3.44 WAR per 600 plate appearances over 1,900. We're going to look at Alex Rios, guys. Grades out 10th defensively, 19th. None of that makes any sense. Dumb WAR numbers and small sample sizes. Only plays right field, but leans versus righties. Number 1 in batting average, number 1 in on-base percentage, doesn't really run, doesn't really hit home runs. So it's kind of empty. I don't love this card either. Let's find Rios. These lists are terrible. Cliff Heathcote's grading out 27th offensively. Glad I got him out of my lineup. Number 1 defensively. Number 12 is Rios. It's a sample size thing on Rios right now. 2.13 WAR is just silly. He's got to be getting played as a designated hitter a bit too, which is decreasing his WAR value. It's got to be. Number 2 in batting average, number 4 in slugging, mid-teens in home runs is 21st. Can run, plays defense, kind of splits kind of both ways. He'll hit both 5 points, 10 points a gap, 13 points of power. He does split a little bit versus lefties. He is a proven winner. Alexis Rios at 27.53, which might be the highest we've seen on the list. The eye is a little bit low, agreed, and that on-base percentage is going to hurt him a little bit. And so what this does, the problem with this on-base percentage being low is that it devalues this part of his game. I do like this card. Going to be good singles, going to be a good batting average against both lefties and righties, I think. I think the loss of power versus righties is probably going to devalue him a little bit. The loss of eye versus righties is going to devalue him a little bit too. That is a crazy low number that I would have expected to be a little bit higher. Obviously, there's some guys higher up in the list with lower sample sizes, but I think this is a really awesome card that's going to play better against lefties in a format that doesn't have a lot of lefties. And so when we're talking about, like, I like the Duran against righties. I like Ducky against righties a lot more, really, than Rios as well, who's also a proven winner. Snyder is obviously a versus lefties guy. Leon Roberts is a versus lefties. Richburg is going to hit well versus righties. I won't lie. He's a top third defensively. The arm is obviously a little lower than we'd like from a right fielder. Obviously only plays right field, which hurts. I'm not opposed to like a Corey Snyder / Lance Richburg platoon in right field. I don't hate that too much. Or even a Leon Roberts, perhaps, with a Richburg platoon. Can he play every day? Probably not. Maybe. I mean, on its face, the Rios looks better, but that really low eye is, I mean, that's a little bit tough. Bad eye. He's a monster. It's a walks thing too with Rios. Yeah, he doesn't walk at all on every one of your winning teams. Well, is he on every? Do you change your team out every time? I guess that's my next question. Is he on? Is he not on all of your losing teams? Is a question too. Max Flack. Let's see if we can find him. Leroy Stanton was 13. Clinton was 14. Hallman 15th among right fielders. Trent Grisham at 16. Steve Evans at 17. Carlson at 18. Flack comes in at 19. I don't think he's getting platooned. I think he'd play up in a versus right platoon. This is a good looking card against right-handed pitching. The eye is probably hurting him a little bit. Defensively, he looks okay. Offensively, he's 6th. Probably getting some designated hitter stuff in there as well. I'm a little surprised to see this number this low, but 258 batting average, 318 on base percentage are both kind of bottom half, top half of the bottom half, but good power, 20 home runs per 600, good speed as well. Interesting card. I think if you can hide him versus righties, maybe again in that Heathcote role. Who was number 1? I forget who number 1 was. Was it Heathcote? It wasn't Heathcote. Richburg. Maybe in like that Richburg role versus righties. I think maybe people are platooning Richburg more than some of these other guys. And so I don't hate that flat card. The flat card looks okay. Seeing not a lot of correlation between weighted on base average and WAR in many of these, which is interesting. Yeah. I agree. So one of the things that I've always had trouble with doing these lists is trying to find the balance between offense and defense. And I kind of feel like WAR right now is even like defense always, and even like steals, trying to find a good balance between the bat, the steals, the defense with these lists when I was trying to come up with my like my own formulas. And so I kind of feel like the WAR might be overrating defense just a little bit too, or underrating defense just a little bit too in some of these guys as well. I can't tell. I have no way to tell how much these guys are being platooned, right? Because like a guy like Flack looks like he should hit really well against righties, but also looks like he's not going to hit very well against lefties, in my opinion. And so the question then becomes, how much is Max Flack in his 2,600 plate appearance size not getting platooned? Right? And so, and the same thing with like a Rios. Although I feel like Rios should be playing well against lefties and righties, I definitely think that eye is a pretty big issue for Rios. If I'm being, but again, proven winner, guys, proven winner, 27.53%. So there you go. Those are your hitters. Not in the numbers, but in the rankings. Like Richburg was number 1 in WAR and 13th in weighted on base average. Yeah, and so if we go back up to him, sorry, I need to build numbers to go between them. So yeah, number 1 in WAR. Again, a lot of that, I think, like when you look at like a Rios, you're seeing some DH action in there as well, and I think that the designated hitter action is probably dragging them down a little bit. Like a 329 weighted on base average, 13th, which is not bad against right fielders, especially when you're talking about a pretty solid average, a pretty solid on base percentage. The problem with Richburg is that while he's a good base runner, he's not a fast base runner, so it does turn into kind of an empty on base percentage because it is singles. It's not like the Freddie Sanchez where there's a lot of doubles in there too, right? It's going to be, the majority is going to be singles. It's not translating into the slugging percentage and the OPS. So it does become a little bit empty for Richburg. But I think he's good enough defensively that the WAR is feeding into that, right? So I think that his right field defense is feeding into the WAR just a little bit more than you're seeing for like a Rios at number 12, where I imagine Rios is seeing a lot of designated hitter action, which is dragging his WAR down. And even still, his weighted on base average is only 10th among right fielders. Obviously, the average slugging OPS are pretty good, but it's getting dragged down a lot by the lack of walks for Rios. So, yeah. Could you include bat R per 600? If it's not too much work to add, might give an idea of how much WAR is coming from stolen bases. I would have to look up how to calculate that and figure that out. I'll look into it to including it later on. So those are your batters. No DH, infield, right field. I got to figure out how to make it work for next time. Did you miss Mcnair? I don't remember seeing Mcnair. Let's go backwards and see if he shows up here. We've got, let's see, Salmon, Builder Legend, Tim Salmon, Kyle Tucker at 23, Verdugo 24, Tobin 25, Jensen 26, Robinson 27, Bing Miller 28, and Jorge Soler, designated hitter 29, dropping a .23 WAR. Let's find McNair and see if I just don't have enough on him. Control F. Air. 2300. So, we saw him in left field, right? So he didn't get enough plate appearances in right field is what's going on. I didn't have enough plate appearances for him to qualify in right field. Let's hit the pitchers. It is... God, I got to get through these guys in 30 minutes or less. Chris Volstad is number 10. Let's fix that because that's annoying. And let's make these bigger too. Let's go like this so you can see them. There we go. A little bit more visible there. Chris Volstad at number 10. Good stuff. Good movement. Good control. I know we end up burning through these pitchers really fast. Volstad at number 10. They are ranked purely on FIP this week. Let me know what you think. I'm seriously looking for feedback on this stuff, guys. And so the hitters, obviously, I feel like we need to make an adjustment on the WAR. I don't love the way the list turned out today. It might even be something as simple as moving the cutoff up to 1,500 plate appearances or something like that. Who knows? I know that one of the things that we like doing on this stream is finding those guys that maybe we didn't see before. But at this point, is there enough data to say, the 600 plate appearances is just too small of a sample size? Or do we just want to do that and then go back through the other guys that didn't necessarily make the top 10 the way we're doing now? I was hoping WAR would take some of the, oh my God, out of it. But I don't think it did. I think it did the opposite of that and maybe set me back just a little bit. You think too much emphasis on defense for the WAR? Maybe. Perhaps defense isn't as important in this version. Perhaps. So maybe we just go back to like a weighted on base average thing. But then that takes defense out completely. And so I'll see what I come up with. I'll see if I can't figure it out and do something better for next week. But I think we're all kind of in agreement that the straight WAR rankings were not great. It has bat R. You thought it was a counting stat similar to WAR that could be calculated per 600. You would agree on the defense focus a little too much, gives less weight to defense. Perhaps we'll see. I'll look into that. It's not something I'm pulling right now, so we'll see. Gives less weight to defense. Maybe not top 10 per position, but top 5 per 600 and top 5 per 1800. Maybe. You definitely like FIP here with so much variation how everyone deploys defense. And so, yeah, we'll see how the FIP numbers look. Volstad was at number 10. Very high movement. No surprise to see him in the top 10 in FIP with that kind of movement. He's going to suffer a little bit from walks, but with this year's sliders being able to not pitch around, to be able to attack guys in the strike zone, you're going to want good defense with a guy like this because his stuff's not going to strike many guys out. And so you can see his FIP. We had 39 qualifying all Tim. They're not all named Tim, I promise. Chris Volstad would probably take offense to being called Tim. For batters, we didn't talk much about batters. We've got 30% lefties, 54% righties, 15% switch hitters. So keep that in mind as we're going through. He does split a little bit versus righties. Again, you can see his FIP outpitching his ERA by almost half a run because he's a very, very good home run avoidance pitcher. Number 3 overall out of 39 in home runs per 9 inning. This is a 2008 rookie sensation, Chris Volstad. The strikeouts are pretty low, and the walks are pretty low too. So that FIP is looking pretty good. But again, put a good defense behind him because balls are going to be in play. Maybe a weighted formula of my own, like weighted WOBA times 100 plus WAR. Yeah, perhaps. So my old calculation was like a WOBA times 100 plus steals divided by 4 or something stupid. Steals divided by like 40. So like 40 steals was worth a full point or something. I always went back and forth on steals and then plus some defensive calculation, which, yeah, maybe we'll just go back to the old calculations and see if we can't make it work a little bit better. Volstad at number 10. Number 9, Barney Wolf, who is like not quite the opposite of Volstad, but much better control. Good stamina here with a good hold runners. Movement, good. He's going to avoid home runs, 0.26, and that's where you're going to see a lot of these high movement guys are going to be good FIP pitchers. His ERA, outpitching his ERA is a full run behind his FIP right now for Barney Wolf. He's at number 9. Again, put a good defense out there with him. He's not going to walk too many guys. A little bit better than Volstad was in walks. So, let's see. 5.3 innings pitched per game, too. Oh, that's new here, too. So, start percentage moved over here. ERA and FIP moved up here. WHIP is still here. I added innings pitched per game down here as well. I'm still using start percentage of 60% in order to for them to make the starting pitcher list as opposed to the relief pitcher list. But here you get to see their innings pitched per game as well, just so that we're clear on that. Pretty bad fastball changeup slider combination. It's just that movement is really helping his FIP out quite a bit. In all team rotation, Lincecum, Hudson, Belcher, Wakefield, Tebow. You could probably do worse than that. Set it to always start highest rested and sweep everybody is what you're going to want to do there. Number 8, John Tsitsuris. This is a card I had not seen up until now. 7th in earned run average and 8th in FIP. Whoa. 100% inherited runner percentage for him, which is pretty solid, right? For a starting pitcher. 97% start percentage, right at 6 innings pitched per game for John Tsitsuris. 80 movement, 64 stuff, 50 control. So you can see here how that movement plus the stuff is translating to, I'm talking really loud right now, aren't I? Is translating to his ERA being a little bit closer to his FIP, right? Because he's striking those guys out and defense becomes a little bit less important. When you're talking about the guys like Wolf and the guys like Volstad who have a good FIP because of their home run prevention, Tsitsuris' ability to strike guys out brings that earned run average in a little bit closer. Man, these things are all jacked, aren't they? There we go. Games. There. It's games. These are the same, but whatever. Again, so Tsitsuris is a guy who defense isn't as important for as the number 9 and number 10 guys there. Number 7, proven winner alert. Earl Francis, 27.42% of his points. Sorry, I don't mean to be yelling. I'm talking really fast now. Number 2 in earned run average for Earl Francis. 3.9 FIP as well. One of the few guys to be out pitching his FIP so far. Home runs per 9. The microphone's supposed to account for that too. I was also really close to it. 24.24 home runs per 9. He's number 1 in home run avoidance is Earl Francis. 51 stuff versus lefties and versus righties. 51 control as well. 36th in walks, 36th in strikeouts, which is hilarious. Tells me somebody's putting good defense behind him. 1,900 innings pitched for Earl Francis at this point. He's number 7 in FIP. We're going to have to go backwards, I think, here. Number 6 is Ben Cantwell. Top 10 in home runs, top 10 in walk suppression. Holy smokes, do you need a good defense behind Ben Cantwell? 529 earned run average for Ben Cantwell. So 3.9 FIP for Cantwell, but defense is pretty important here for him because he's not going to strike anybody out. 4.36 strikeouts per 9 innings is 38th out of 39 for Cantwell. Only 204 innings pitched, so keep in mind that too. So it's a pretty small sample size on Cantwell right now. Number 5 is Dane Dunning, number 2 most used. Hey, he's at number 5. Innings pitched are 10,868. Oh, you know what? That needs to be... I don't care about the third of an inning there, so let's just go 0 and get rid of that, because that was annoying. Dunning's one of those future legends. Good home run suppression, top half, 21. Good strikeouts, lots of strikeouts, 7.5. So a 3.87 FIP is what that leads to. His ERA is also right there as well. A 4.04 ERA is top 10 among all pitchers. 7th in WHIP as well for Dane Dunning. He's a solid-looking starting pitcher. Maybe it's not the defense, and maybe we're seeing this stuff is low balls and player killing silver level defenses. Perhaps that could be true too. There's not a ton of really outstanding defense besides maybe Simmons. You've gotten good results with Cantwell with a top-notch defense. I can absolutely see that. But lefty contact teams are problematic. I can see that too. Number 4 is Ray Culp. Good stuff. FIP at 3.85, ERA at 14th at 4.14. 0.89 home runs is going to struggle with the home runs a little bit. The control is right there to almost top 10, 2.49 walks per 9. Home run suppression's a little bit of an issue for him. He's one of those guys that I'm torn on what I want my strategy sliders to be. I kind of don't want him... I just realized I'm moving way down in the chair. I need a new chair. I don't really want him not pitching around people, but I don't really want him pitching around people a ton either. So it's kind of one of those things where he kind of stays in the middle. Good stamina for him. Almost 6 innings pitched per game. 95% start percentage. Again, pretty small sample size. I am going to be honest with you guys. I am trying really hard to track this card down to get more data on him. There's not many of them out there right now. I'm trying to get him in my rotation. I haven't been able to do it yet. I just haven't been able to find one on the auction house. Is going to have to be a new stud. Yeah, they do. Kilduff, lefty contact. Yeah. Saul Rogevin. 1955 snapshot. 2,400 innings pitched. Proven winner alert. This is your number 1 points getter right now. Saul Rogevin. 38.28%. I'm almost positive. We're going to look at that chart at the end just so I can show you. It looks cool. Top 10 in home runs per 9. Almost top 10 in walks. 32 strikeouts. 32nd in strikeouts per 9. Number 6 in earned run average. Number 3 in FIP for Rogevin. Pretty solid numbers going on for him right now. 11th in innings pitched. 12th in WHIP. 90% start percentage for him. Over 2,400 innings. 38% on his... I don't even know what to call it, but proven winner alert for Rogevin. Satchel Paige comes in at number 2. I mean, I don't know what to say, guys. Satchel Paige is good. 379 FIP, 353 earned run average. However, 81% start percentage, 4.95 innings pitched per game. 26.21 on his proven winner alert. That's top 20 as well. Let's see. 13th in strikeouts per 9, 13th in home runs, top top half, and walks as well for Satchel Paige. This card's just good, guys. I wish I could say this card wasn't good. He's got reverse splits because a little bit reverse splits because of the screwball better stuff versus lefties and versus righties. He's just crazy. His card, the card kills. It absolutely kills, even in silver. There's nothing I can do about it. It's really, so again, I talk a little bit, so you'll notice. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see what I did here. So I split them up just a little bit more. So we've got the velocity pitchers here, right? And he's got a seriously good fastball. He's an extreme fly ball pitcher. That's part of it too, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. The off-speed changeup, 78 curveball with a 30 slider, 49 forkball. But then these weird pitches, man. These weird pitches, just they change everything. The knuckleballs, the screwballs, the knuckle curves change the way these pitches work. And you can see his stuff and his movement are both pretty high. Don't pitch around with him, because then you'll start running into trouble with walks, but not terribly bad. The 68 overall rating on this card just blows my mind. He's such a good pitcher. Yeah, you're only going to get 5, maybe 6 innings out of him, but it's going to be a really solid 5 or 6 innings. If he went more than 5 innings instead of routinely pitching 6.2, it might matter. Yeah. It can be a killer in tourneys, but I haven't had issues with him killing my bullpen either, though I don't think I'm running him on my silver team right now. I might have to start. He's number 2 in FIP, over 9,992 innings. You do probably want to run a 13-man pen with him, though, so keep that in mind. Number 1, Cole Henry, number 1 most used. I don't think we're surprised here. First in whip, number 1 in FIP, number 4 in earned run average, top 5 in strikeouts, number 2 in walks per 9. Home runs are a little bit of an issue for him, but nobody's getting on base to make it matter. Cole Henry is an absolute beast. Now, the few guys with very high home run power might cause an issue for Cole Henry. There's 3 or 4 that have 90 plus home run power. That might make Cole Henry pay, but there's just not enough power here in silver to make a guy like Cole Henry pay. It's just a really solid card. I'm not surprised here. Let's back up and go see where some of these other guys are. So 11th is May, who's just outside the top 10, and his ERA is pretty good too. So if I went based off of FIP and ERA again, he'd probably be in the top 10. Fritz Dorisch with 300. One person is running Fritz Dorisch out there right now to moderate success, it looks like, as a starting pitcher. Very good versus right-handed hitting is Fritz Dorisch. Kevin Gross, proven winner, Kevin Gross. A little bit of a versus righty split here. 78 stamina for 1990 snapshot. Kevin Gross, 13th in FIP, 12th in earned run average. Our Marichal and Guidry movement just too bad to be worthwhile. Perhaps. Let's see where they show up. So Henry McHenry, number 14. Dutch Ulrich, number 15. Bobby Jones, 16. Fausto Carmona, 17. Don Robinson, 18. Live Eduardo Rodriguez, struggling lately, number 19. Manny Salvo, 20. Wheeler at 21. Max Fried at 22. Here's Wainwright at number 23. FIP at 424, but his ERA is very, very good at 3.95. Who are we looking for? Marichal and Guidry. Nagy at 24. We've got Brent Suter at 25. Guy Bush, 26. Eric Gassaway. Marichal at 29. 39th out of 39 in home runs, 429 FIP, 447 earned run average. Yeah, I think Marichal's movement is just a little bit too low. Also, if you're using him, make sure you set him to pitch around all the time, as much as possible. 4th in whip. That's crazy. Number 1 in walks, number 7 in strikeouts, 29th in FIP, 447 earned run average is 28th. And he's top 5 in whip. I don't know. I have a feeling that if you can get him in there and set him to pitch around, you're going to get better results than what we're seeing. For Guidry, the problem is walks. Who was number 1 was Cole Henry. Was number 1. If it's not a pain, can I show the full list with ground ball, fly ball? column. Curious how those distribute. Yes. Give me a minute. Maeda at 30, Stottlemyre, Brown, Alex Wood at 33, Nip Winters 34, Cannonball Jackman, Victor Santos, Steve Blass, Gene Kropp, and Spencer Howard. Gene Kropp. There's 2 Gene Kropp cards in the game. Spencer Howard made his got called up this week. Interesting looking card. Number 2 in strikeouts. Terrible FIP, not a good ERA, 247 innings. So there you go. Let's do the relief pitchers first, and then I'll bring up the full chart. You're trying to use all ground ballers, but you're not seeing many of them. May need to change that up. So yeah, that's one of the things too. Loving the laugh out loud weird column. Yeah, I did. That's my favorite column too. Those are the guys that you see outpitch their stuff. Look, so you're not seeing any of them down here, right? So 30, 29. So you got the Marichal, but the home runs are such a big issue for him that I really think that if you're setting him to pitch around, you can probably get decent numbers out of Marichal. I think that there's a lot of people out there that still haven't figured out the sliders, and so Marichal, as a guy who's throwing in the zone, is going to get hit pretty hard. Yeah, so he is the lowest movement on the list that I've seen so far. And then you see none of them in here. And then we get up near the top of the list, and you got Ulrich there at 15 with the knuckle curve. And then you get the screwballs up here. The Francis, the Earl Francis, who's got that knuckle curve. You've got the Ben Cantwell, who's got the knuckle curve. You've got the Satchel Paige, who's got that screwball. And I really think that these pitches feed into that reverse split that really helps them out quite a bit. And I think they do an extraordinary amount on there. It's 140. We got 20 minutes left. Guardado at number 10. Proven winner, Eddie Guardado at number 10, 27%. And again, I'm going to show you that whole chart here at the end. Versus lefties, he's a little bit of a specialist, but he's not terrible versus righties either. He's a 76 rated card, 351 FIP, 304 earned run average for Guardado. We had 59 qualifying pitchers. The sample size will have to be bigger next time. He has 1,246 innings pitched, not even up here, but he is a proven winner. Number 9 is Alex Colomé. 350 FIP, 301 earned run average. 7th in WHIP. Top half in every category. I mean, 28th in strikeouts, 25th in home runs, 15th in walks. 67.76% inherited runner percentage is not great for Colomé. 72% inherited runner percentage for Eddie Guardado is 14th, almost top 10 there, which is good. Let's see. Mel Rojas at number 8, top 10 in inherited runner percentage, top 8 in FIP, 3.4, 3.28 earn run average. Is he better than live? We'll see. All-Star Colomé is better than live Colomé. Interesting. We'll see if he's on the list. I don't know if he's going to be. Is he silver? Is that one silver? Mel Rojas at number 8. Number 7 is David Hale. Good movement, good control for him. Just a 64% inherited runner percentage is not great. But top 5 in home runs and walks. The problem is you get those runners on base, and, this isn't your stopper, right? This isn't the guy that you want coming in with a runner on third because the balls are going to get put in play. He's more of a clean inning kind of guy. If you can get him into a clean inning, then he's probably going to be okay for you. This is relief pitchers now, even though it still says starters, right? Yep. Very good home run suppression, very good walk suppression. Again, if you can get him into a clean inning, but you don't want him out there with runners on second and third and one out or anything like that for David Hale. Number 6, Jeremy Ficach. Proven winner, Jeremy Ficach, 25% for him. 19th in ERA. Which is top third, 6th in FIP, obviously. Walks are good. Home runs are good. Strikeouts are meh. 71% inherited runner prevention. So quality stuff there for Ficach. Only 2 pitches. He's a guy that's been consistent throughout Perfect Team 21 and now here in Perfect Team 22. He's a good pitcher. He has pretty good defense around him, though. Number 5, Tom Williamson. This is a guy that walks people. 48th out of 59 people in walks, but 0.4 in home runs at 7th, top 10, 19th in strikeouts per 9, top 10 in ERA, top 5 in FIP for him. 30th in WHIP, however, for Tom Wilhelmsen, and 36 an inherited runner percentage for guy with a fastball, sinker, curveball pitcher from 2012. Number 4 is Wayne Twitchell is a proven winner in silver. 332 FIP and a 266 earned run average. Number 3 in WHIP for Twitchell. Top 10 in home run suppression. He will walk some guys here. There's going to be some guys who can get on base against him a little bit better here. But he's going to strike guys out. Top 3rd in strikeouts. Top 10 in home runs. Number 4 in FIP. Number 2 in earned run average. Twitchell is just top 10 in inherited runner percentage as well for Twitchell. He's just ridiculous. For Twitchell. Him and that other guy, Satchel Paige. They're still pretty good. Yeah, I totally believe it too. Twitchell's awesome. Number 3 is Scott Ellerton. Very good stuff. Top 10 in strikeouts per 9. 20. He's a proven winner. Scott Ellerton with a 27% proven winner percentage, which we're seeing a lot of relief pitchers on that proven winner percentage list. 331 FIP, 283 earned run average for Ellerton. 1.188 WHIP is good for 4th. Top 15 and inherited runner percentage for Ellerton as well. Number 2 is Turk Wendell. In 362 innings, Turk Wendell has dropped a 320 FIP and a 278 earned run average. Top 10 in home run suppression. Very good control at 17th. Almost top 10 in inherited runner prevention, and WHIP is 12.01, which is good for top 5. Turk Wendell looks like a pretty solid pitcher. Versus righties, probably a little bit of a specialist. But, I mean, specialist versus righties. He also bat switched too, so that's interesting. Number 1 is Jabba Chamberlain. Proven winner, Jabba Chamberlain. Was that 4 relief pitchers on the proven winner list this week? 314 FIP, 284 earned run average for Jabba. Your bullpen's important here, guys. Home runs per 9, strikeouts per 9, top 10, top 5, top 10 in WHIP, top 10 almost in inherited runner percentage. Let's see if we can find some of these other guys. We didn't see Nathan. We didn't see Guidry. We didn't see Guidry on the starting pitcher list because he's below a 60% start percentage. Will Harris at 11, Bill Daly at 12, Oliver Perez at 13, Dylan Floro 14. Holy smokes, there's a lot of pitchers. Paul Kilgus. I should have moved over for this. There, that makes a little bit more sense. Paul Kilgus, who's your 7th most used, is number 16, 2,700, 359 FIP, 336 earned run average. Top 15 in both of those. Definitely usable. Chris Martin at 17. Kevin Rogers at 18. Interesting. He's your 10th most used. Joe Nathan comes in at number 19. And we'll go back to number 20. 19th in FIP, 15th in ERA, top half in strikeouts, home runs, walks, all of that stuff too. And 30th in inherited runner percentage. Casey Fine at number 20. We wanted to go to starting pitcher stats. I don't have the ground ball, fly ball stuff right now, to be honest. It's that would be a little bit of work. Yeah, I'll have to do some digging on that ground ball, fly ball stuff that you guys asked about. So we'll see what we can do. And so here's that new chart that I've been talking about. Your championship points. Saul Rogavan was number 1 with 38.28%. He finishes in the rewards 34% of the time in his 128 appearances. So this is out of the top 100 players with appearances. Saul Rogavan is number 1. 128 tournament appearances. That is not innings pitched. That is not. That is total times he's shown up on a team in tournaments. He's only gone out in the first round 39 times. Guys, Saul Rogavan looks pretty good here in silver. Ellerton at number 2. Coco Crisp at number 3. Ducky Holmes. Let me zoom in on this for you because I'm sure you guys are having trouble seeing that. Ducky Holmes at number 4. Alexis Rios at number 5 in his 308 appearances. So what this is he has 128 appearances, which means he's got 640 total points. You got 1 point for the second round, 2 points for the third round, 3 points for the semis, 4 points for the finalists, and 5 points for being the champions. Rogavan has 245 points and 614. He's only gone out in the first round 39 times. Saul Rogovan is a solid pitcher. Only gone out in the second round. You know, he makes it into the points 34% of the time, and I can sort this by that too. So if I sort largest to smallest, easily number 1 on this list, and that number 2 in rewards is Francis. Number 3 is Brenton Doyle. Number 4 is Alexis Rios, and number 5 is Coco Crisp. So this is it's a really cool list. I like it. It's fun to play around with, and so there you go. Let's sort this smallest to largest. Crisp goes out in the first round, the least amount. Ellerton, the third. Ducky Holmes, Earl Francis. So those are guys that are fun. This one is most total points all time. And so Brooks Robinson, surprise, surprise. Henry, Jabba, Pete Rose, Satchel Paige. Your top 5 in most points all time because they get used the most. And again, I can sort this one by percentage in the rewards as well. And if I sort this largest to smallest, you'll start seeing Scott Ellerton, number 1 here. Fakach, number 2. Jaron Duran, number 3, finishing in the points. Jabba Chamberlain, Satchel Paige, your top 5 at finishing in the points. And these charts are they're fun more than anything. Let's go open a few packs. We got knocked out. Dang it. It's just for fun. It takes like 4 or 5 extra sheets for me to use. No packs here. Let's check the main team. The gold team was trying this morning. The gold team got us some packs this morning. Nope, they did not. This was our drop packs. We'll buy 25 packs. We'll close it out with some packs. Am I going to continue ranking by far going forward from here? I don't know. I don't know. I don't like it. I didn't like it much. I've tried it for 2 weeks now. I didn't really like either of them all that much. I think if we cut it off a little bit higher too, that'll help, but I don't know. Let's buy 25 packs, shall we? We'll open 30 packs with the decimals. If we finish any collections, we'll turn them in. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Are shifts good for ground ballers, or who do they work best with? You can never figure it out. I'm still working on that. I use shifts for just about everybody, but I might need to make adjustments on that as well. I haven't done anything scientific. Like what I need to do now that I'm done with this, there's one more thing I want to add to the spreadsheet. But what I need to do is go like 10 tournaments where I run with shifts, 10 tournaments where I run without shifts, and stuff like that. So these packs have started off not hot. You're very welcome, Mr. Mojak. And that's the next step in my progression when I have a little bit of time over the summer, is to spend a little bit more time doing more scientific stuff on strategies. Everything that I talk about on strategies right now is very anecdotal. So just keep that in mind. Yuck packs. Yuck packs. Charlie Lau, Ron Calloway. 30 packs, and they're going to be all junk. Manny Machado, blarg. This is not helping me build the gold team. Not helping me build the gold team. We did get a Doc Miller here. Silver card. Not in any missions. No missions yet. Bubba Trammell. I think he's a duplicate. Part of the Mike Cameron mission still. He'll get sold for some points. Brock Holt. That's sad. Josh Bell. The only bronze in that pack. I need food. Fulmer, Brady. 18 packs left. Always have homework after you watch my streams. Yeah, when I retire, I might put the spreadsheet up on the Discord. When I'm like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Maybe. It's at the point now where it's pretty easily workable, I think. So for now, it's not going public because there's still a lot of work to do. It's not great, but Louis Santop drop. Congratulations. We're going to call the last 5 packs in here our drop packs. We're at 13 packs left. Holy cow. These are not great. Not great. Ooh, Don Gross. Bronze card. My goodness. Can we even see a Like a historical silver? No, you're just not going to give us anything today. Rough pack day for the decimals. Astadio. Ha, Tony La Russa. There's a Jim Presley. Silver historical card. Are you part of any missions? Nope. Tony La Russa. Man, do I hate Tony La Russa. Come hang out with me tomorrow. We'll talk about Tony La Russa. I'm not going to talk about him here because should I save my pack for Thursday? Sure, I probably should. But it's fun opening them with you guys. Last 5 packs. These are our drop packs. Hey guys, so the plan for next week. Monday is supposed to be the live update. So my plan is to take Monday off. I am not going to stream on my channel on Monday. Monday will be all iron. I'm just going to get into as much iron stuff as I can. And bronze. And on Tuesday, we're going to hit iron. We're going to do the iron updates. And on Wednesday, on my channel, there we go. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Interesting looking low diamond card. Robert Hassel III. And on Wednesday on my stream, I'm going to do this. I don't usually do the deep dives on my stream like this, but on my channel next Wednesday, expect me to do bronze. I want to get that data out to you guys as soon as I can. I don't think we completed any missions. No completed missions today. So, expect me to do iron on here on the Out of the Park channel on Tuesday, the full spreadsheet. And then on Wednesday, we're going to do the full deep dive into bronze. I'm going to wake up Monday morning and just get into as many iron and bronze tournaments as I can to get that data. They kick off fast. I get kicked out of them fast. So we should have some pretty good data by then. And it'll look just like this. You'll just see, well, I mean, it'll look like this. You'll just see that this will be for Monday and Tuesday for the bronze and iron. And that's what they'll be ranked by, is their whatever I decide to go with over that Monday. And so it'll be a little bit smaller sample size stuff on this, but it'll be iron and bronze. I just want to get that stuff out to you so you can use it as much as possible over the course of the month. So the 5 missing points on the nagging mission is a field ad. Yes, it is. You're welcome. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Sorry the packs were kind of junk today. It happens. I might sell something expensive and open, yeah, we'll hold off. But guys, have a fantastic week. I'll be on tomorrow on my stream with Sporers. Tonight is Sporers. I will not be able to actively manage my team. I'm always excited for Sporers, though. We're going to talk about it on stream tomorrow. And then, like I said, next Tuesday and Wednesday will be iron and bronze deep dive. And so we'll see you then. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week if you don't come out tomorrow. But if you do come out tomorrow, just Sporers is just too much fun, guys. It is a lot of fun. I wish they didn't have another stream on Tuesday nights, but I do have to work tonight and I have to go get food before I go to work. So have a good one, guys. Bye.